Hi, everybody. This is John Suntress from the Word Balloon Podcast, and you are on Splash Pages.
Is the one obvious thing.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Oh, I got the wrong one playing. Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. My name is Lee. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. And we have an amazing show scheduled for you as always. And with us, we'll kick it on over to Carrie. How's it going?
Hey, it's going great. I'm not drinking tonight. There is no Smash Pages. Ratatosker has his hazelnut coffee flavored vodka, and I have got my iced coffee going here. So I can be hyper enough and be excited enough for our guest tonight. So
Awesome.
Let's go over and see how Drew's doing, and he can introduce our guest. Drew.
Oh, are we on?
Drew.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us with Splash Pages. We're so happy you're here because if you weren't, you'd be somewhere else. And why? It's Tuesday. That's all I got. So, everybody, we have a spectacular guest coming back. Super excited to have him here. If you know anything about word balloons, you would know that this man has been on. It feels like forever, but I'm fairly certain that there's a carbon dating there. I never thought I'd meet somebody who's about as knowledgeable and talks more than I do, but yet I did. If you've seen him at TerrificCon, he hosts a smattering of great panels. He seems to know everybody in the community. The one, the only, the extremely knowledgeable, but always nerdy, well-dressed, bespeckled Mr. John Suntress from Word Balloon.
Woo!
I got my dress T-shirt on. Thanks for having me back, guys. It's good to see all of you. And man, great week. Did you know Saturday the 10th is my 20th anniversary of podcasting?
No,
Yes.
congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for you about that. And
thanks.
that Saturday the 10th is also you're celebrating that by going and seeing the legend of the legend behind the Kingdom.
The Legend of
Okay.
Kingdom Come. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
I'm glad Drew is doing his homework, reading the book. Yes. The director, Remzi Atasi, and the producer, Sal Abenanti, are going to be on stage with me at the historic Landmark Theater in Chicago, the Music Box Theater, that's where so many great film festivals happen. And, it's just always been this wonderful place to see a lot of cult movies. And, they'll do revivals there and Sound of Music sing-alongs during Christmas and other like great classic Hollywood and stuff. So it's really going to be an honor to be on the stage after we show the movie and conduct the Q&A with Ramsey and Sal. It's going to be great.
Wow.
That's
amazing.
Yeah. When's that going to be available for purchase?
You can buy it now, and it's the Legend
nice.
of Kingdom. It's legendofkingdomcome.com or thelegendofkingdomcome.com, but also alexrossart.com will take you to the page. And yeah, man, no, the Blu-rays are available, or you can buy the digital as well if you just want to see it. But it's really great. And Sal was actually on my show last night, and I guess there's 90 extra minutes on the Blu-ray, and that's terrific. He's yeah, there's more of you. He's got that great Chicago accent. Yeah, there's more of you, Jan. Oh yeah, and I'm like, all right, great, man. Fantastic. So,
how did they approach you for it? I mean, like, did they email you? Did they meet you at a con? Or they were just like, hey, John, do you want to be a part of this?
Well, Sal reps Alex's art and website and all, and he's kind of his art dealer. And we've known each other, good Lord, for at least 15 years, more than that, 16 or 17 years.
Amazing.
And he would listen to me on sports radio here in Chicago. So you're shaky, right? Over by the score, over by there. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, I like your stuff, man. And he wanted Talking Heads, and there's a lot of great creators in it. Brian Polito's in it, Todd McFarlane, Amanda Connor, and then Jimmy Palmiotti, and Jim Lee, and Gene Ha, and Jill Thompson, and so the Benson sisters. Mark Waid, of course, as the co-creator of the book. And all this great footage, and of course, Alex explaining his process and really kind of going through his own history at first as a comic fan, what led him to art. Superman was always his character, and that's why he created Kingdom Come. But he's like, they have two other guys that are comic historians, and even went to a couple comic shops that were doing book clubs of Kingdom Come and everything. And he's like, hey, well, we want you. And I'm like, really? And he goes, well, yeah. He goes, you're a good talker. He goes, I need good talkers, Jan. I can't count on some of these guys. They're behind the draft board all the time. They don't know how to talk. You know how to talk. That's your job. And I'm like, all right. So they had me in, and honestly, guys, I've been trying to lose weight and have succeeded, although I'm still very big. But I said I'm down from 3 chins to 2, and one more to go to get back to my fighting weight. But so I made sure that my hair was perfect for this video shoot. And then my clothes were perfect. I sat on my jacket like Albert Brooks in Broadcast News because you didn't want the shoulders to bunch up and everything.
Right.
And Ramsey, the director, I'm like, just do me a favor, just shoot me from like here up. He's like, John, I swear to God, you're gonna look great. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And so they sent me the cut of the movie, and I'm there. First of all, I'm the first voice you hear, which is ridiculous. But he goes, he goes, hey, we needed things to kind of, exposition while we were showing B-roll of other things. And you're kind of good at this. And I'm like, well, I have done other TV shows and documentaries and things. So I kind of know how to narrate and be succinct with points. Not right now, obviously, because this is going on.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
But
yeah,
thank you.
But
yeah, it was such a shock. I'm like, damn, I'm the first voice you hear as Alex is drawing a Superman head. And then within the first 6 minutes, they cut to me a couple of times. I'm like, okay. And seriously, as soon as I saw myself, I'm like, okay, all right, I don't look bad, because I can't tell you guys how many times on Chicago TV I never had my fly open, but metaphorically, I certainly felt that way if my hair was nuts, or really the Cubs are doing this year, and I'm just like, idiot. Everyone right now is watching you and saying idiot. So they weren't, but that's, as I'm sure you guys might feel when the occasional random camera catches you or whatever. I mean, you guys all look great.
It happens all the time with me. I have to get it at such a right angle because I'm still so sensitive about what's going on with my hair. So if I feel like I see anything that is less than handsome, I'm like, nope, delete it, do it again. It's the 4th time. I don't care. Okay,
I hear
you
you,
got to
man.
pay the price for looking this pretty.
I hear
You know?
I,
Yeah.
I was a cheerleader in high school, so I grew up being thin, and
God
I've
bless
been
you.
back to thin again. But now, like I look like a fat turtle when I'm
Oh,
sticking out my head to be like in a picture with somebody. You know, you got that like thing going on, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. And you've seen me at Terrificon with this going everywhere, and it's so hot there. I'm like red and dripping and this mess everywhere, and it's just like, and Drew's like, let's get selfies. I'm like, why in the fuck do I want anyone to see me like that? Like, I love
And you
having
look
pictures of
fine.
people, but I
It's
look like a dying Lhasa Apso.
no, you don't.
You know?
Okay, you look lovely. Okay,
absolutely.
it's not like we were taking Make-A-Wish selfies. Okay,
Yes, that's
so
very true, man. I was very
exactly.
relieved at
So,
our selfie that the group shot we all took, and I'm
yeah,
like, "Hey, I look all right," because I had just
Yes.
started trying to lose weight then, about
no,
a
yeah.
month
Listen,
in.
John, we'll
So
do it before and after. About look at the progress. The balloon got smaller. Okay,
I'm
And
kind of
total
swimming in my jacket right now, so I guess I'm doing something right.
yeah, man.
I lost 40 pounds since June. I
oh,
literally want to lose
congratulations.
another. Thank you. I literally want to lose at least another 30 or so, and
That's
Hey,
awesome.
then I'll be okay.
I'm down 35 myself.
That's great, Leo.
Thanks.
yeah,
Well, last year was really difficult because my mom was on hospice and like I let myself go, and it was but I got back on Wegovy. Holy shit, that stuff is like friggin' magic.
Yeah, the first 30 was was non-Ozempic for me, and the last 10 have been on Ozempic. So yeah, and
mhm.
I've heard great things about Wegovy as well. So that's great,
I,
man.
I
That's
Yeah.
just
great.
I'm just walking and trying not to just stress eat my feelings. So I think I'm down 15 pounds. So
Attaboy.
hey,
Nice.
listen, every little bit helps. I mean, you can ask Carrie, like, how far do you have to walk in order to lose weight? Because I'm usually dragging her around like Calvin with Hobbes at conventions, and she's like, can you stop? All right, let's go. Like,
Oh, I'm sorry, Carrie. Please, you haven't
yeah.
spoken in a while. Please talk.
Oh no, I when he's dragging me around at conventions, I have to arrange things better so I'm not carrying around this, because this weighs like 10.5 pounds, and I'm just beating the shit out of everyone as we're walking through things because he's dragging me so fast, and I'm like trying to keep it behind me. But like, people, we have encountered people in the show who are like, yeah, you whacked me in the shins with that. And I'm like, oh,
Uh,
sorry.
What are you gonna do?
Like,
What are you gonna do?
Carrie, it could be worse. When I was doing cons with my cousin Kevin, I'd carry this big backpack with all the equipment on it. And he'd always joke around because when I turn around, I just whack somebody and he'd say, "Oh, you just sent a kid flying." So,
Leo, try wearing a proton pack, man. You turn too hard, bam, clothesline.
But
Okay.
there are those convention attendees that like really do walk like 3 or 4 abreast and basically take over the entire aisle, and it's like, there is both ways going. I
oh, yeah.
thank God at Mohegan and Terrificon, the aisles are wide. So
Yeah.
honestly, guys, no lie, I feel so appreciated by Mitch Halleck, the guy who runs Terrificon, because truly, ever since he first invited me, he invites me every year. We do the panels. Everything's great. It really is my favorite convention, and I really stopped going to San Diego just because you got to mortgage your house to afford to go to San Diego unless you're going on
Seriously.
some dime. But New York is such an inconvenient show, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
I mean, as we all know, you get there, and even if you have a pro badge well,
mm,
I think we lost John.
yeah, I think we totally lost John.
I thought
if
it was
I
me.
John, you're freezing up.
around the entire oh shit,
No, there's a
am I
beautiful
back?
rant. We only heard about.
I'm frozen.
Yeah, you're.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
I'm back.
Yeah, you're doing good,
All right.
Iceman. You were frozen,
Sorry
but yeah,
about
you're good.
they make you walk the perimeter of the Javits Center before you walk in. And also, guys, I found out that I have a vascular problem that thankfully I'll be attending to. And you know, what are you going to do? But until it's fixed, you know, it's like, all right, so I just got to stop every 1,500 steps or whatever and rest for a couple of minutes. I'll get through it. I got through C2E2. We'll certainly get through Terrificon.
I mean,
so.
I agree with you. Like, New York used to be so manageable, and then I would say the last 10 or so years, it just got so crowded. And even now, with the return of Anime NYC, there's no longer the main Walking Dead. There's now different branches, but still Walking Dead. It's still so crowded, and it's just like I don't even want to go in the main room anymore because it's just. And the thing that kills me is all I want to hear is 2 words. I barely hear, excuse me. That's all I want to hear. Just some basic instead of like, and I've done football, so I know when someone's just barrel rushing me, just bam, and all I get is a sorry, bro. I'm like,
I don't think Reed did anyone any favors merging the Anime Con with New York Comic Con, and it's like that was so unnecessary. And there is, and we all know that there is a big enough crowd for both shows. We have separate animation or anime conventions here in Chicago every year, Anime Central, and it's a great show for anime and manga fans. And
absolutely.
It's like, yeah, come on, man, don't, you know, again, I don't get it. I really don't get it, and it's just become more and more depressing, like you said.
Listen, John, last year was the first time I went since like 2019. And the only reason I went is because I had a friend who had a spare ticket. It was like, do you want this? I'm like, I'll never say no to free, even if it's for like 4 hours. So, you know.
And I mean, individuals that read, I really like. I mean, you know, Crystal Andrews is a sweetheart to me. And Mike Negan is a wonderful guy who used to run Artist Alley and now is kind of a marketing guy for them and everything. Crystal Rant from Popverse and everything. Good guy.
Right. Great
Ashley
people.
Robinson. But yeah, I got to be honest. I just, you know, whoever the decisions maker are above them and stuff, it's like, you guys aren't helping. You really aren't helping.
But, you know, point is, Terrificon's not just one of my favorites. It's been one of mine for years, but ever since doing this, it's been fantastic. And, you know, people like you, Mitch especially, who we're looking forward to having on later in the year.
Oh, good.
No, it's truly one of the best. I mean, it's breathable. Everybody's really chill. There is always a great lineup, and it's just so much fun.
You talk about the lineup. So Carrie, I know you brought up that comment a couple times. Stanley, definitely check it out. It's you know, Terrificon is one of the few that are actual Comic Cons. You know, it's not, you know, these tons of celebrities. He gets, you know, great celebrities, but you know, it's more focused on you know, the comic side of things, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
he really makes an effort, Leo, to make it, as you guys all know, because we all go. It is a really comic convention first and foremost, and he has access to the same celebrities that some of these other conventions have that are loss leaders. Because I mean, you can get Sylvester Stallone to come to your convention. It's going to cost you $750,000 to $1 million to have him there, and I don't know how you're going to make that back as the promoter. Maybe it's a loss leader or whatever. But it's, you know, and I mean, my God, I've seen it here in Chicago with Fan Expo, that it's more about the celebrities and less about the comic creators. I'm glad C2E2 on another Reed show. You know, we have a great Artist Alley, and I will say that thankfully they've maintained that quality of Artist Alley. Honestly, I think it's even better than New York. The only advantage New York has is the proximity to so many of the old timers. So they don't, you know, a lot of them obviously moved out to New York to get the Marvel and DC gigs. So it's no problem. And obviously Mitch has that to his advantage as well. And you got John Romita Jr. and Al Milgrom and Walt and Louise Simonson are coming back, and all these wonderful people. And Chaikin, like we said, although Chaikin's West Coast, but you know,
Although and he gets them from everywhere. That's the other thing, because a lot of them are just close by people, you know. And
hi, Jeremy.
But I think the other thing, and I feel like it's also interesting, John, is that I feel like as you've done, like I've been going to conventions for over 10 years. I'm sure you've been going quite a bit more than me. But I feel like my like as you get older, the priorities shift. Like and you and Carrie and Leo can back this up. Like I used to be all about getting books signed. Like I would just bring suitcases full of books and I would just let's see how many I can do. I mean, that used to be my NYCC bread and butter was just the whole
Sure.
weekend, seeing what I could get done and whatnot. But now, thanks to these idiots, who I love you both, but still, um, I that and then getting an autograph is becoming so expensive because cost of living is
Yeah.
so gone up, and they got to get their time too. But it's just so much. Like I think doing an interview is so much more
Yeah.
rewarding and
You get to know other
whatnot.
people. Yeah, you get to know
Yeah.
the people and stuff, and they get to know you. And isn't it? I mean, Sienkiewicz early on, very early on, when I started going to San Diego, like the second
Hmm.
or third year, John, and I'm like, oh my god, Bill Sienkiewicz knows who I am and is happy to see me. Not oh shit, it's John. Run, Sorry, don't
Yeah.
mean to swear if I'm not allowed to
No, no,
swear.
no. Swear up.
Oh,
We don't.
You're good. You're
All right,
good.
swear all you want.
all right. It's
Yeah.
been a while. I couldn't remember, so yeah, I'll
Well,
try and keep it clean.
I agree with you. I think that's the thing I love is that a lot of times Mitch has similar people going back who we've got to know over the years.
Sure.
So we have running jokes, they
Yes.
recognize us, and it's just so rewarding. And don't get me wrong, if there's a real someone whose book I really want to get signed, fine. But yeah, I mean, just the fact that even people like you, John, who 20 years you've been in, you think
Yeah.
so nicely of us. It's like I've said this to Leo and the carrier was like, man, we must be doing something right because if John didn't like us, he wouldn't hype us. That man
Oh,
is very clear. That's the
it's a pleasure.
Chicago way.
Well,
If
yeah, I mean, that's what I always say, guys. I don't do reviews, and it's like, no, I just need to like the book. And sometimes it bums me out because, like, Valentine. Oh God, is he another Delandro? The guy
Delandro.
yeah,
yeah,
Delandro.
who did Bitch Planet with Kelly
Yeah.
Sue. Yeah,
Hmm.
okay, because there's Chris Delandro, of course, the former Marvel marketer, and now the guy that runs at least Chicago C2E2 for Reed.
Right.
But regardless, so Val, I love Val. He's the sweetest guy in the world. And for the longest time, he's on X books. And I'm like, Val, I just don't read X books. I'm sorry. I'm that one comic book fan that
Right.
really isn't into the X-Men. And he's like, well, don't worry, John, someday. And thank God he got Bitch Planet. I'm like, hey, good, yes, yay. And in fact, I just had Kelly back. And I'm like, more Bitch Planet? She's like, oh, yeah, eventually and stuff. And I'm like, God, I haven't talked to Val forever. I really got to get him back on the show. And I'm sure you got, how many years have you guys been doing Splash Pages now?
Leo, answer the question.
Well, it kind of melds. We've been doing shows since 2013, but Splash Pages itself, probably what, 5?
Okay, but
Well,
2013. There you go.
I don't know. It's hard because one day you just asked, "Hey, do you want to come on and see
Yeah.
if this will fit?" And then suddenly I've been here, and then Carrie did exactly how she became friends with you, John. She just kept showing up to watch and
Cool.
comment on the show, and then we needed a spot. We're like, "Carrie, do you want to try this?" It's sure. And then she went from fan to joke intern to member of the show. And now we have people who we rotate in regularly. We have our viewer there, Mr. Jar Jar Jeremy, who's still a member of our team. Jar, I know you're watching. Still, keep toking it up, buddy.
Jar's family, Jar,
Yeah. So
yeah.
yeah. But like real family, kind of like how Vin Diesel does it, but I am Groot. Like I am Groot, Iron Giant, Superman family. Not family. I'm like, okay, Dom, that's a catchphrase. It's not an answer. Point is, yeah, I think Leo, I've been on like what 3 years? Yeah, I mean, you were the
I've been on
OG.
about 2.5.
Yeah, you were the OG. So I don't know, John.
Yeah, well, I started it on the Dorkening.
Oh, sure.
Had to be a couple years before I made it its own. So yeah, it's probably been about 5 years for Splash.
Cool.
And then before that we were doing just straight the Dorkening and the horror show Creator Spotlight. So
yeah, so we crossed our 5. We get our 5-year chip. You got your 20. You're getting your 20. So
yeah, I don't know what I get for 20. You know what I get? Yeah, you're still here. I
Yeah.
think that's
You get a Mickey Mouse watch.
I'd take it. I would absolutely take the Mickey Mouse watch. What are you talking about?
I
Don't give me a
know.
Mickey Mouse
That's
watch.
what I'm saying.
I don't watch. I don't wear watches. A good friend of mine, truly, like one of my best friends. I just saw him because again, we're all old. My group of friends, we're all 60 now. At a 60 something birthday party, and he for the longest time sold watches, and for high end like Tissot and
Right.
Tag Heuer and all this stuff. And he's like, I can get you a deal on like a really, really great watch. I hate the sweat from the band of the watch. I was thrilled when your phone became your watch, and I'm like, great, I don't have to put anything on my wrist anymore. And really, my friend Michael, he was such an important executive at Tag Heuer. They would, for the champion at the Indy 500 every year, they'd get a great designer watch, and he's in the winner's circle in all these racing magazines next to the Indy 500 winner for years.
Wow.
And it's just, and it just dumb luck that, I happen to work for this company that's a major sponsor of the Indy 500 and stuff. So every year there he is with, Mario Andretti or you name it and stuff. And it's like, that's incredible, man. He's part of the job. So
I'm having to get used to it because you're talking about weight loss, and I have been doing really good, and I've got the Fitbit.
Yeah, you have.
But sure. I've been having problems walking and getting on my steps and stuff. And I went to KC PlanetCon or Planet
that's
Comic Con,
great.
and I had to sit down a lot, and they have really weird conversation outside in the smoking section. This person was telling me that their sister worked with when they were building the building that we were in. And it's apparently the hardest floor in the United States because it was poured so that trucks and stuff could drive over it.
Oh, okay.
And it wouldn't break up. So,
Sure.
but they had to leave. They just left it that way. So I was like,
God
okay, so
God
maybe
forbid the convention puts carpeting down.
yeah. And
exact. Good luck.
So I kept my only experience at conventions before this has been Terrificon. And so I was not expecting the 70,000 plus people that showed up and the, going all over and having to take escalators and get everywhere. And my foot just keeps hurting. And I'm just like, it's been getting worse and worse. And I do PT all the time. I have a bone spur there. I had to go in and get x-rays finally because it's gotten bad. And I'm like, okay, that explains. So my weight loss has
Carrie,
not until we get that taken care of.
I'm going next week for a vascular doctor's appointment and forgive me, everybody, for all the medical stuff. We'll get to the comic news and the comic reviews shortly. But this is kind of convention like war stories.
Yeah.
I was worried about my feet. I went to the podiatrist and he goes, is it hurting in your calves? I'm like, yeah. He goes, we're getting you a vascular thing. And I hope that it isn't bone spurs and it's just the x-rays for my feet were fine. But yeah, the doctors are very confident. They're like, either with medication or we'll do an angioplasty through, sadly, your groin and open some veins. So like, you're going to be fine. And I'm like, oh, that's so great, guys. Because truly, before I gained all this weight, man, it was easy for me to do 10,000 steps a day. And even San Diego, sometimes 20,000 steps. And it wasn't a problem. It was great. I like walking. I'm in a wonderful Chicago neighborhood that's about 20 minutes from Lake Michigan. And I have this great scenic route I can take all the time. My legs can't handle it right now. So yeah, again, sorry, old man issues and everything. But I feel
no.
Yeah.
And those scopes are really easy. I had why I have epilepsy is when I was a kid, I had a head injury. And so 10 years old, they had to run a cath up into my head and they used from the groin to do this to check it out there. So
crazy. Yeah, I had it for my heart. I had it for my heart last year, and and everything's good with my heart, thank God. But yeah, no, it's like, guys, again, we all get there. Truly, I mean, I'll talk to buddies like people that you've had on based on your B-reel that you were showing at the intro. Guys like Paul Kupperberg, he's like, oh, you're a kid, and I'm like, yeah, I know, it's all relative, man. That's what I say to my 40-year-old friends. It's like, don't worry, you'll get there. We'll all get there, man. It's all right.
I'm getting there, and I don't like it.
It's just a number, It's
I say the same thing all the time. It's just when I hit 60 in December, And really, people like, get freaked out about 60. I'm like, no, 49 to 50 was my oh shit age. And really, 40, I'm like, oh man. And then I woke up and I'm same, I'm like same guy.
Yeah.
Carrie, are you Carrie? Sorry. Are
Yeah,
you
yeah. I turned 50 on Halloween.
you look great, Carrie. I swear to God, you do. I easily would have thought you were still in your 30s or 40s. I am not lying to you.
Thank you.
I turned 50 in August.
There you go, man. Hey, man.
I
That's
am
good, though,
the
because
youngest person in this room again.
Little baby Drew.
40s.
37.
37, and boy, Drew. See, shame on me. There you go. All right,
No, it's okay. It's the ever since I've been in college, I just grow a beard, and people are like 35, and I'm like, deep breaths, deep breaths. Nope. I'm not buying anyone beer. But
as we get older, we get perspective. I don't say it's wisdom or anything else. It's just you've been turning left most of your life. Maybe it's time to turn right. That kind of life choice. It's like
I think what I always call it is I was just like, you know what? We're not calling it older. We're calling it fine whining. I'm just getting better with it.
Better with age.
So that's just it's about how you look at it. Because if I think about anything else, I was like, well, I'm gonna find the nearest bridge and jump off. Thank you.
I'm cool with my age. I'm cool with my place in the culture, in pop culture. And I'm between boomers and Gen X. I don't really consider myself Gen X because I was born in 64, but December of 64. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm too young to be a boomer, but I am too old to be a Gen Xer, in my own opinion. So I guess technically I'm Gen X, but I really don't feel it. But I also don't feel like a boomer. So
there you go. Listen, it's okay. You're just John.
I'm just John.
He's just John. It's like I'm just Ken, but he's just John. What does that mean? A lot of talking. So
yeah, sorry guys. A lot of BS to start the show. I apologize.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. Listen,
that's why we have you here.
Exactly. Because if it wasn't going to be you, John, if it wasn't going to be you, it was going to be me. So thank you for giving me a break. And you can ask Carrie and Leo this, because I think, Carrie, do I still hold the record on Owlite for one of the longest shows? Was it 4.5 hours? Right?
I think you did 5 hours and 17 minutes. And
thank you.
If you don't count our 24-hour episode, which that was a marathon thing that we did, no idea why. I read Alice in Wonderland, the whole book, and sang the songs and did the stuff and couldn't talk for like 3 days afterwards. But if you don't count that, I believe, you hold the record or are close to the record.
I still don't know what the hell I was talking about.
We did a 24-hour podcast back in 2008 or 7, and it was my show, Around Comics, which is another Chicago podcast, the Crankcast, which was artist Mike Norton and letterer Chris Crank and their show, and Seeley came in, Tim Seeley, because he's friends with all of us, and Scotty Young, and we did, and that was back. We would record it and then upload it to iTunes. We weren't able to stream live back then because it was pre-live streaming, technology. But yeah, it was a blast doing it. And Bendis did an hour for me, and Kevin Grivo, the actor / horror guy, he's friends with Seeley, so he did an hour, and it was a blast, man. And we asked a bunch of their comic book creator friends to come on for an hour. I can relate.
You know what, Carrie, Leo, because we're habitually horrible at getting people's names when we say them right. You can answer us a question, because this has been bothering me and Carrie, not as much Leo, but is it Mark Miller or Mark Millar?
I do know the answer to that.
Okay.
We all assumed it was Millar because of the AR. And back when Ultimates was still happening and he was doing Ultimate X-Men, he was the first time I met him in Chicago. And he's like, I really appreciate the posh pronunciation of my name. But really, it's Miller. And it's Miller. So, yeah, I mean, truly. And he's like, don't worry. Much like me, I answer to whatever comes closest to my last name, which is an I shirt on its own. But, it's Miller. It is Miller, technically. So yeah, that, and also I learned, here's a good one. Here's a good pro tip for you,
Mhm.
for you youngsters out there, not you guys, because maybe you've already experienced it. Walt Simonson prefers to be called Walter. So I always call him Walter.
Oh.
And he doesn't mind, because again,
Right.
50 plus years in the business has labeled him Walt Simonson.
Right.
But I know he's like, hey, John, I prefer Walter. And I'm like, all right, I'm like, then that's what we're calling you, Walter. Don't sweat it, man. I love him. And that's another guy that when I see him and he gives me a hug, it's like, oh man, Walt Simonson's cool. You see, Walt Simonson's cool with me. I love that.
Listen, we have our friend Justin Cooper, Coop. I always keep making the joke because he bearded, bespectacled, hat, and I was like, "Can I get a photo of you and Walt Simonson together, like a before and after?" Because it's just because there's sometimes he'll just make like he'll have that. Carrie, am I wrong? Like sometimes Coop could be a younger Walter Simonson.
Tom Fowler, Mike Norton, and Chris Somney look like the evolution from Cro-Magnon to modern man. Fowler is like kind of rough, unkempt,
right?
Cro-Magnon. Norton is all right. We're getting evolution's happening, but we're still there's a little bit of caveman still in there.
Right.
And then Somney. So yeah, it was either in New York or Chicago one year. All three of them. I'm like, you guys have to take a picture like this.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like actually, Fowler says he always gets like when he'll be at a show, he's like, yeah, he goes, it's gotten to the point where I refer to myself as Earth 2 Mike Norton. And it's like, yeah, I get it. I absolutely get it, man.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun. But yeah, so we should, before we get to talking more about the books you recommended, John, whatnot, I think we should probably just, what do you think, Leo? Just bang out the news? We could just get that done?
Yeah,
totally. Just like you said, do a little something different. We got John here.
Super short this week.
Yeah, it's a short week. So then it's more time to talk to John.
Thanks.
So
yes.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right. So let's I guess we should start with the sad news and then we can go to the other news. So
with the variant watch news too.
Do you want to do variant watch first?
Yeah, let's just do variant watch and then we'll do let's just call it is. We'll do the obits and then the news.
Sure.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Variant watch me. Welcome to Variant Watch, everybody. And we got John Suntress here to add commentary. That's John. That's animated John, actually. That's not John. That's Emma Frost.
Yeah, I don't look that hot. Sorry.
Yeah, John. You're on the path. Don't deviate. Keep going. I know. I agree with you. So everybody, we already heard that Amy Chu is going to be working on a new Emma Frost miniseries, which is talking about her time when she was in the Hellfire Club. And this is pre-X-Men, pre-Diamond Mutation, still a villain. Absolutely fantastic. Very exciting. And I got to say, these variant covers are just as exciting. So you got the main one, which we already saw, but then check out the next couple. These are fantastic. Look at these.
Gorgeous.
Fantastic. You got
that's good. Is that Phil Noto?
Is that Greg?
That's Greg Land.
That's Greg Land.
Oh, Greg Land. Sure, of course. Yeah,
Greg
Land knows how to draw beautiful women. Yeah.
That one is stunning. That's the bad guys variant.
And is that a photo?
Probably.
Or is that another drawing? Because you'll forgive me, but my short eyeballs make me think it's a photo rather than an illustration.
It's a drawing.
It's a drawing.
Do we know who did that one?
I'm pulling it up right now.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
Because I would have thought that previous one was either Adam Hughes or Phil Noto. But no, I believe you when you see Greg Land because I can tell from the eyes.
Yeah, that's Greg Land.
It's Joshua Swaby.
Wait, I got the list. Yeah, Joshua Swaby. And
wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, because
not that the others aren't, but yeah, that's great.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I can give the names, Leo, if you want to start from the beginning, if you can. So it's David Nakayama as the one that we've seen before.
Cool.
That's I think that's Joelle Jones.
Joelle?
Yeah, I believe.
Always beautiful. Always beautiful art from Joelle. She's lovely. She was at C2E2. Cool.
Will be at Terrificon as well.
Excellent. Yeah.
Next one that's Greg Land, also
Land.
who will be at Terrificon this year.
Great to hear.
Yeah. And I believe that one is Joshua Swaby.
Cool.
We did the variant and the Virgin variant. And then I believe, and then there's one. Yeah, that one might be Joelle, actually.
No, that's Ricky. I got them all. I got the names in front of me.
Right. Ricky Yagawa. See, I told you, we got to work on the names, man.
Okay. And that's a foil one.
I'm sorry, but foil covers are my kryptonite. That's when I'm like, I'll stop reading comics for a while, because it became more about the foil covers and the hologram covers. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm here for the stories. Yeah, how are the stories doing?
Right.
Actually, Amy's writing the book.
Yeah, she's writing the book, and the artwork's by Andrea DeVito.
Yes, which is fantastic. Yeah, and again, I heard that, I saw that headline as well, and it's like, all right, got to bug Amy coming back to Word Balloon. She's a doll.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I might be wrong. I think the Bring on the Bad Guys cover, which was the really nice one there, that's Mike Henderson. So
another great artist. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So
which one?
Yeah, so, the that one, Mike Henderson. It's the Bring on the Bad Guys.
Okay.
Yeah, gorgeous. All right. So those are all there. The first issue will be on sale June 18th. So that's the first one. Now the next one, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very excited about, but that's because I'm a Hellboy fan. So this year is the 15th anniversary of Mike Mignola and Richard Corbin's Hellboy in Mexico. Wow. So commemorating that, Dark Horse Direct is releasing 2 limited edition screen prints based on Mignola and our colorist Dave Stewart's iconic variant cover. So, God, they look great. I mean, originally you had the one shot that was May 5th, 2010, aka Cinco de Mayo. And then you saw a lot of other stories that have, over time, of Hellboy's somewhat murky time in Mexico. So the version that we're seeing there's 2 versions. There's the 8-color print and then the black and white 4-color. They're both printed on archival quality paper, about 18 by 24 inches on that quality paper, and a limited print. We're talking 200. Wow. So they are available for pre-order on Dark Horse Direct. I am 100% interested in getting one because, my God, anything Hellboy, anything Mike is just a yes. Shut up and take my money. So,
I hear you, man. Corbin. I really feel when we go through the pantheon of iconic artists that you really need to be in the know to appreciate Corbin. And I mean, probably because it was always more alternative stuff and heavy metal and things like that. But yeah, man, when he was working for Dark Horse, I had a lot of conversations with the editor who was handling him and stuff. And I'm like, God, that must be a pleasure. He goes, oh, it's a dream come true having him here. So yeah,
when he passed, it was such a loss because my first introduction to him was The Crooked Man, which we were really fortunate to be able to do a live read for, which was so much fun. But I just remember saying, like, and Carrie and Leo, you remember I said this when we were talking about it originally. I was like, there are some books you read just sit with you, and there were things in The Crooked Man that still bothered me in my nightmares years later. And that was, I mean, Mike's script is one thing, but Richard just had this way of just drawing it in a way that just stuck in your mind. So, it's still a loss that's felt today, but God, he's remembered so well.
No, absolutely, man. And Den, of course, Den and heavy metal. And I saw the movie first, and then I read the stories, and it was like, oh, that's so great, man. He was genius.
Absolutely. All right. So those are the 2 variants for Variant Watch. Like Carrie said before, it was very short. Now we have to move on to the slightly sadder news, as unfortunately we've experienced some losses in the comic community. So we're going to do our best to keep it brief, but also still remember these beautiful artists well.
Drew's News. Exciting tales, fresh comic views. In the pages, heroes fly, villains plot under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News, your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun, it's a heroic cruise in the world of Drew's Comic News.
Every damn time.
Drew, that's awesome. It looks like your son. That's fantastic, man.
I hate you so much.
I'm so
Not
sorry.
you. No, John, I love you. These two idiots, they do that to me every time. And one day I'm going to show up in that Blue's Clues outfit, and it's just going to make the internet explode. So the first one is a huge loss. Is confirmed. The great Jack Katz, who was a fantastic Golden Age artist, but also known for works like The First Kingdom, did pass away April 25th, 2025 at 97. Yeah. So his credits, I couldn't even begin to. I mean, the man worked at Quality Comics. He also did Standard Comics. He worked in Jack Kirby and Joe Simon's studio back in the day, developing a very detailed style, which unfortunately slowed him down a lot. He worked at Atlas Comics, which, as we know, would eventually become Marvel. He was a teacher at one point. 14 years later, he returned working for Marvel and DC, as well as Skywald Publishing. In the 70s, he was in Cali. He started working on what is now known as his magnum opus, The First Kingdom, which was a sci-fi fantasy tale with an epic story that spanned 24 issues. It was like 2 a year, which totaled 768 pages. I mean, a friend of mine in college showed me this. It blew my mind. I mean, it was complex, long-form storytelling, gorgeous artwork. Kind of like its contemporaries, Wendy and Richard Pini from ElfQuest, who will be at Terrificon as well, or Dave Sims Cerebus. It was just a new way of making and reading comics. He also did work on several other graphic novels, like Legacy, which was published by Graphic Novel Literature in 2009, art instruction books. He took up oil painting in the 50s, came back to the 80s, and he was pretty much an art teacher most of his life. He received the Inkpot Award in 1977, was inducted in the Eisner Hall of Fame in 2023, and he will be missed and remembered well.
I used the oil paintings to bookend him because I loved his comic work, but I couldn't find anything good, and I just thought those two paintings were so beautiful and representative of his celebrational style.
Absolutely.
That's great. I mean, that's like Joe Rubenstein now is painting more than doing comic work and stuff. And, I mean, and Joe's proud of his comic book history and everything, but no, he's all about his fine art painting now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I was going through it. His paintings, I'm sorry, Drew.
No, it wasn't you. I was trying to remember another great painter who passed away last year. He was an older gentleman, Greg.
Is it Hildebrand?
What?
Hildebrand?
Thank you, Greg Hildebrand. Yeah. Guy painted the Star Wars poster.
That's exactly right. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Carrie, you were saying. I'm sorry.
Looking at some of he wasn't just oil painting. He had canvases that were as tall as he was.
Yep.
And, doing and oils take so long to do that.
Right.
It's just crazy. He finished hundreds of them, I believe, from when he went back at like between 1988 and 2003. Before he was teaching, I believe he finished hundreds of them, which, given the size, I mean, there's some that were smaller, but
sure,
it's just the man had patience and an incredible amount of style. So
yeah, absolutely. But will be missed. But again, as I like to say, 97 is a hell of a run.
And I always say, if you make it past your 80s, you won. It doesn't matter when you drop. I mean, and 97 is incredible. So
but so it's sad to say, because again, the next guest, not next guest, but the next person to talk about Jackson Butch Geis, regrettably passed away on May 1st. Which was his brother-in-law James Attell posted about, and this is such a loss because I've been a fan of his work for ages, and I was like, man, if I ever get a chance, I'm going to meet Butch, guys, because he's such a great artist. Originally he started working with Marvel. Well, his first published work was a Raw manual. He then worked with Marvel on the Micronauts series in '86. He'd work with Bob Layton on X Factor. He would then also leave, but he would still help co-create the X-Men villain Apocalypse with Louise Wheezy Simonson. For his departure, he worked on some New Mutants, then went to DC, working on The Flash in the '80s. He came back to Marvel with Bob Layton and worked with David Michelini on Iron Man. He then later worked on Roy Thomas for the new relaunched Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, for about 18 or so issues. Then Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then with Wayne McDuffie on the Deathlock miniseries. So then he jumps back to DC. He's working with Roger Stern, Michelini on Action Comics. So this is a huge run because it covers Death of Superman, Funeral for a Friend, the Reign of Superman storylines, huge. And then in the '90s, he was with Ostrander, that's John Ostrander, on Valiant's Eternal Warrior. He would go back to Marvel and DC. I remember him especially for the DC Marvel All Access, which followed DC vs. Marvel's series. And then he was pretty much at DC for a while. He worked on Dan Abbott and Andy Landing on Resurrection Man. Then he was a regular artist for Chuck Dixon on Birds of Prey. He did a little bit of cross-gen on Ruse. And then he was teaming up with Kurt Busiek for Aquaman, especially during the Surge of Atlantis storyline. And his final work was The Futurists with the independent label Allegiance in 2020. If I'm also correct, I believe he did some good work with Captain America during Brubaker.
Yes, he did. Yeah, he was one of the alternate artists with Steve Epting. Absolutely. He
did.
Yeah. Ruse was amazing. That truly was one of my favorite cross-gen books in that brief blip of a period for cross-gen. But actually, I like you were saying, when he was at DC, he and Mike Barron were the first Wally West solo Flash creative team at post-crisis, and where we had a new #1 for Flash after that wonderful Carrie Bates run on Barry Allen and stuff. And it was like that was an exciting period, and Butch was right there with Mike drawing great stuff.
It was fantastic. Yeah, it was such a loss. I mean, 63 is still a pretty decent run, but I would have loved to have met him. But again, like a lot of greats, he'll be remembered. His art was unmistakable and just fantastic.
It'll endure. Absolutely.
All right, so that's that for those past. And there's only one more story, and then John, it's all you, buddy. So the last story, Leo, I'm sorry, it's a Star Wars one, but I'm on a roll, so let me just finish it. So Dark Horse and Lucasfilm are announcing a brand new comic series, Star Wars Tales from the Nightlands, which is a 3-issue run bringing to life the Nightlander, which is essentially the Star Wars boogeyman. So this will be a Halloween special. So Carrie, you get a boogeyman for your birthday. Written by Kevin Scott with Bram Stoker award-winning artist Sue Lee, illustrating issue 1, Vincenzo Riccardi doing issue 2, and Robert Hack for issue 3. And then with cover art there by the always great Francesco Francavilla. Tales from the Nightlands. Full description is as follows. On the planet Ryloth, Twi'lek speaks in hushed tones about the Nightlands, the spectral realm where the spirits retire after death. According to legend, there are certain rites that when the veil between the haunted place and the land of living is so thin, one can communicate with the other side. Enter the Nightlander, a Star Wars boogeyman who seeks to possess a powerful living host and bring despair to the galaxy. So, on top of such great artwork, we're also going to see one of 3 generations of galactic heroes facing off against the character. Issue 1, we'll see a Padawan, Anakin Skywalker, visiting Ryloth with Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, who's attempting to summon the ghost of Qui-Gon for a final goodbye. Issue 2, we'll have Luke and Leia facing the horror, and issue 3 is Rey and Finn against this dark power unlike any in the galaxy. So, nothing but great things here. Apparently, if we can have Life Day, then by God, Star Wars can have Halloween. So, Well, absolutely. And then this is the third time Mr. Scott's been writing Tales from horror series. He did Tales from Vader's Castle, which was a follow-up to The Return to Vader's Castle, Shadow of Vader's Castle, and Ghosts of Vader's Castle. A lot of castles here in 2018, as well as Tales from the Rancor Pit in 2022. So, I mean, Dark Horse is known for scary comics. So they're just, Lucasfilm is thrilled. They're like, we're just going to keep scaring the crap out of little kids who just wanted to play lightsaber duel. They said this is, and on top of it, this character, the Nightlander, is designed by Ian McCaig, who is the man responsible for how great and iconic Darth Maul looks. So, again, there's a superb amount of talent here. By God, can't wait. This sounds awesome. And it's going to be arriving in the comic shops just in time for Halloween. So it's going to be starting September 3rd. So, yep. Spooky time.
Sounds good.
Indeed. Leo, is this right up your alley or is it a little too scary for you?
Might be a little too scary.
Okay, Carrie.
I'm glad that they're doing stories about. I'm sorry, Carrie. I'm just glad that they're doing stories other than the usual stuff, and I mean that's why I'm excited for the new animated series that started on Sunday. And I like that's why I love Andor. It's like I got nothing against Jedi and stuff like that, and the Sith. But yeah, I mean, no, this sounds like it would be again a little more of a stretch for the Star Wars universe, but in a good way.
Well, and Carrie, something that you can finally read that's Star Wars that might be up your alley. Something spooky.
Okay, Ewoks are terrifying as shit. I'm just okay. You see the Ewok one? Wicket's little eyes just
sure.
And then Leo and I are discussing they eat their. Well, I guess we don't know if they're cannibals or not because we don't know if they eat their own dead, but they do eat the dead of those that they kill in battle. So
not only kill, but they
cannibalism. But
they were gonna toast up Han Solo there,
right.
Han and Luke and Chewie.
I'm sure they would have killed him first, or maybe not. Depends.
You got it. Carrie, you gotta let it go.
We do this to him all the time.
You gotta let it go.
We just torment.
Okay,
John, welcome to Let's Fuck with Drew. That's part of what this show is.
No,
like 30% of the show.
No, the show is let's get a rise out of Drew. Okay,
they do it to me, man. Podcast and the guys that I have on Sunday, Wayne and Mitch and Franco and stuff. No, they bust my chops. I get it, man. That's all right.
Yeah, no, it's all, listen, it's all good. I give as good as I get, and the answer is no. It's to fuck with Leo. Okay, that's the goal. It's that's
the other.
Absolutely. So point is, Carrie is just puppet mastering the fuck out of us. She's just dance, puppet dance.
So John, you mentioned Andor. Just question for you.
Please.
So I learned to really enjoy, not learned, but I ended up really enjoying the first season. It really took a while for it to grow on me.
It was a slow burn. I'm with you.
Yeah. Second season though, I'm having a little bit of trouble with. Like it's I get that they're trying to show like the life of like the rebellion and the Empire and everything before Battle of Yavin, but it's it seems like they could have focused on some different stories, like three episodes about a wedding. It's how do you feel about that?
Well, I'll be honest. I'm only on, because of the pace, I'm only on episode 4 of the 6 that they've so far released. So no, not at all. Honestly, but I am okay with it, and I have to be in the right frame of mind to sit down and pay attention, because guys, I don't know about all of you in general, but it does drive me crazy when I hear that there are executives at the streamers telling the filmmakers and TV makers, can you be a little more deliberate with the dialogue? Because there are people, as Drew is doing right now, thumbing through, and this is not a burn, Drew, But
Oh,
truly,
that's fine.
like
Don't worry. You can burn me.
reading,
I'm strong.
well, they're doing laundry when they're watching. They're on their phone when they're watching, and it's like, oh, so you want our story to be less compelling and more matter of fact? Shame on you. Don't dumb
Exactly.
down dialogue. So I am. It's just a matter of being in the right frame of mind. Right now, I'm behind on Doctor Who for the same reason. It's like, no, I really want to sit down and watch this. I'm a little more critical of the last 2 seasons of Doctor Who, and it bums me out because I wanted to love Jodie Whittaker's run. I felt like she was, let down by the writing, and I kind of feel that way about Ncuti Gatwa with Doctor Who. But what I am loving Andor because again, it's doing is legitimizing Rogue One that much more. And I always loved Rogue One from day one. I think it's a very underappreciated Star Wars movie. And I feel like this is giving us the story. And there are people with prequels. Well, we know what's going to happen, so what's the point? And it's like it's not the destination; it's the journey.
Exactly.
And so I love this. And I'm a big Diego Luna fan. I was back when he made the movie Nine Queens, a great crime movie that he made like 20 years ago. But it's so I'm cool. I'm cool with it. And even Benjamin Bratt coming in to replace Jimmy Smits. It's a shame that Smits's schedule wasn't aligned with theirs, but it's okay.
That wasn't Jimmy Smits?
No, it's Benjamin Bratt now.
Wow. Okay.
I know. And it's like, all right, these things happen. What are you going to do? It's not the Terrence Howard, Don Cheadle situation with the War Machine, but, it's all right.
I could have sworn that was Jimmy Smits. I'm going to have to rewatch that episode.
Hold on.
Here. Yeah.
Tom Dog?
Tom Dog?
Tom Dog, I'm going to say this nicely. Get out.
Oh, no. Why did the Ewoks try to roast Han Solo? Because the Wookiee was Chewie. I get it. Hey, now. I'll be here all week. Everybody, hey, Hoth, they should have called, like the joke from Family Guy. Hoth, they should have called it Koth.
But before we move on, and I know you said you don't care for these, John. While Drew was doing the news, I was opening some packages that I got. The foil Action Comics.
Oh, very nice. Well, also
so
before
is it the issue itself or just the cover?
It's just a cover. Yep.
But it's just it's like a print. It's
no. This is a reprint
of the whole issue.
Of the whole issue, original size.
Like 64 pages? Because weren't they like 64 pages back in the?
No. I mean like not standard comic size, like how it.
No. And I realize that too, Golden Age size. But I'm saying inside, it's all the stories. It's not just the Superman story of Action One.
Let me double check.
Which ended on a cliffhanger.
Is that Leo? Is that the James Gunn variant cover? The variant Superman?
I ordered it. I'll have to go through it.
My God, man, doesn't even know what he's ordering.
Well, there's like 20 comics in front of me right now.
Well, no one told you to buy 20 comics.
Yes, it is the complete book.
Wow, so it has like the other stories. That's fantastic. Yeah. Does it have the old ads too? That's what I loved about the old oversized Treasury edition reprints. Look at that, fantastic! Wow, oh man,
Wow.
Hold up again.
Yeah. Show it again, Leo. Look at that old time there. Look at that.
There you go.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's always the best about when you find those older comics. You see this ads. I think I was reading 2099, and they had an ad for Aladdin. I'm like, oh fuck. Oh God, that is old.
I'm like that about 60s and 70s comics where Skittle Pool was like a great game that I forget who made it, or the Aurora original like glow in the dark monster models you could do, and they also have the Hero models. No, and the Golden Age, you guys probably already know this, but they would have those text stories as well, and you guys know why?
No,
because it would qualify then as a full magazine and therefore would get a cheaper postage rate because subscriptions were very important back in the Golden Age. And so that's why you had those 2-page text stories. And as we know, that was Stan's first writing, was a Captain America story in, I believe, issue 3. So yeah, it's no, they're the golden age. Like, I mean, they're throwaway stories, but it is interesting. They're of all genres, westerns, and
Wow.
spy stories, and whatever. No, I always find that part of the golden age very fascinating.
Well,
Evil Knievel motorcycle
Yes,
toy
that was
ad.
another. Yes, Don is correct. That was a back cover ad. I also remember when The Last Starfighter was a brand new
yeah.
movie. They bought a lot of comic book ad space in the comics and the back cover, or it was Converse as opposed to Nike because it's before Nike existed, and they
Mhm.
had a basketball full page comic strip of Rick Barry and Dr. J in their new Converse shoes. And
Wow.
Dr. J is doing slam dunks and stuff. And then Rick Barry, the whitest guy in this story. Now it's my turn, Julius. And he would make like a 3-pointer, from downtown.
Dear God.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I met Rick Barry in my sports radio days, and I brought one. He's like, "Oh, I get these all the time at autograph shows." Great. And it was so great to hear that from Rick Barry and stuff. And it's like, yeah, man, come on, you're immortalized in a comic book. That's cool. It's like those old Hostess, one-page ads that were comic strips and stuff with Marvel characters and
Right.
everybody's Hostess pies. Yeah.
But
Before we get too far past this, we kind of skipped before the news even. Sal was saying reviews, let them know if anybody needs viewer copies. And we think this is for the documentary.
Yeah, I think
If
it's for you
you
guys. Yeah. No, it's not
okay,
for
yeah,
everybody.
we
Obviously, it's for you hosts
but
and everything. But yeah,
yeah, we would love to reach us on splash pages, or I'll give you um I'll send you a message. Just look in the outbox or the
I'll put you guys
inbox
in touch with
for
Sal.
things.
I'll put you
Oh,
guys in touch with
okay.
Sal. So yeah, we'll make it happen. No, that'd be great, guys.
absolutely.
Because
That's
yeah,
so cool.
no, I'm sure Alex and Mark and Sal and company and Ramsey would appreciate as much reviews for the documentary. And really, not just because I'm in it. Hey, listen, we've all seen very good comic book documentaries like the one that Demonakis made about Mignola,
Oh
and
yeah.
we've seen lousy ones, that, and no disrespect to the people that just show up with their camcorder and are doing, convention interviews and stringing them together and calling it a documentary. But no, this is high end, man, and really, Ramsey and Sal did a great job on this movie. So
Absolutely.
Okay.
And but I will say this, just kind of segueing to the books, John, is because we've read Kingdom Come before, and I remember when I brought, because I had individual copies and I brought mine for Mark Wade to sign. I think he said
sure.
I think he said every year I think I've signed every one, and then one of you brings another one, and he handles it really well. Because we reviewed this, Leo, correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the day, we did a review of this. We read it and reviewed it. I think this is one of the few comics that I have in my collection that almost made me cry just reading it, and I still get a little misty. I mean, the story is just so powerful. And I told Mark Wade that, and he's like, "Thanks, man. I really appreciate that." And I haven't had the pleasure of meeting Alex Ross. I missed it just by a couple of minutes at New York Comic Con. But I mean, if I told him, I was like, "Man, just everything you do is amazing. Like you could draw a rock and it will be a bestseller."
No, you're right, man. My first exposure to Alex Ross was I was working at the bank that handled Now Comics from the early '90s,
Mm-hmm.
and Alex did a Terminator story called The Burning Earth for them.
Oh wow!
And I worked in customer service, so we would go through checks payable to Now Comics, and and I knew it was Now Comics. They did Green Hornet as well at the time and Speed
Right,
Racer
right.
among their books. And but yeah, I kept seeing these checks for Terminator: The Burning Earth, and every now and then, being in customer service, I would talk to their accountant, and they would call up, and I'd tease him and go, "Hey, how's the Green Hornet doing?" And he'd laugh, and whatever. I'm like, "What is this Terminator: Burning Earth?" He's like, "Oh my God, it's this local artist," because they were a Chicago company, and he's like,
Mhm.
"His name's Alex Ross. It's like if your mom's romance paperback covers were an entire comic book," and I'm like, well, that sounds amazing. And I mean, I was used to realism art from guys like Neil Adams and people like that. Nobody draws like Alex. And of course, Marvel's came before that. In a lot of ways, guys, that early '90s image period for me, being an older reader, like I said earlier, about foil covers and hologram covers and
Right.
all that stuff. I'm like, I'm the idiot that actually reads the stories. And it really felt like in the 90s, it was artist first, then writer. Even Wizard would really promote the artist first, more so than the writer and stuff. So I kind of checked out. I came back from Marvels. And then 2 years later in 96, this is the 29th year for Kingdom Come. It was in 96. I saw at the local shop, they had the posters for Kingdom Come. And I'm like, well, this looks important and impressive. It lived up to the hype, man. Again, Wade is a brilliant, brilliant writer. And Alex really went out of his way because he loves Superman. And Sal and I were talking about this the other night. Because you can read, especially the early issues, and essentially it is this third generation of heroes that are kind of out of control. So you got Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman. Then you've got, there I am, Dick Grayson. Then you got the Dick Grayson generation and the Roy Harper and the Donna Troy DC generation of sidekicks. And these were their children. So essentially, yeah, there you go. There's the heroes coming back and the iconic moment when the Justice League comes back. Superman is retired. You know, he had the opportunity to kill that beautiful. Oh, look at that.
Oh God, so good.
But yeah, man, that amazing scene of, the Joker kills Lois, the Joker goes on trial, and we get Superman sparing the Joker, and Magog being the guy that is like, well, the hell with that, and kind of in that same way that JFK's Lee Harvey Oswald, kind of, even though it was out in both were in public, but yeah, out in broad daylight, Magog literally kills the Joker, and energy blast goes through his chest. He's dead, and that drove Superman away. And it's like, well, we're out of fashion now. My way of doing heroes is out of fashion now. So he stepped aside. But the young kids are out of control, and that's when Superman and the Justice League come back, and we'll show you how it's done. There's that great the scene on the farm of Diana and Clark and everything. Not Cal, Clark. What does it basically rejecting his Kryptonian background. And again, this stuff. Last time I was on, we talked about Thy Kingdom Come, the JSA. Kind of in between story that happens between the third and fourth issues of Kingdom Come, or even part of the fourth issue. But just these images and so many Easter eggs in the background for we're like the Interplanetary Zoo right there.
Well, but that's the thing. I remember when this came out, Leo, if you don't mind. This was the 20th anniversary cover, and I actually was really lucky because I was able to get this copy through my good friend Mark Hammond, who helps with All Yeah Comics.
All Yeah Comics in Brewster, New York, absolutely.
Yep, and then and I paid for it, and signed by Mark and Alex himself to me.
That's
and
great, man.
It like I said, it was the only time I ever have something from Alex Ross, because I paid because they had a Alex Ross experience on New York Comic Con, and I have his poster of his Starman that he had done, which is one of my favorite pieces.
Oh my God, yeah, all the different Starmen, absolutely.
Yeah, I had the connecting poster, and it's very important to me because that was for my girl, who we just celebrated 10 years. That was her first anniversary present to me. Was that?
That's great.
And I have it framed in our bedroom, and I have it signed by James Robinson and Tony Harris, who both, that's their baby. And I was like, this is the only thing I want. I just want Alex Ross to sign it, and then he was never going to leave. And I missed him, and I was like, damn it. But to another moment to connect to is that he met a friend of mine, whose name is Michael Burns, who is, in my mind, still one of the greatest Superman cosplayers I've ever said. And Alex Ross met him, and he's a photo with him, and he said, "You are the best Kingdom Come Superman I've ever seen." And I was like,
great. That's wonderful. Yeah,
like,
Alex.
What
Alex,
more do you need?
Having been in the business for more than 30 years now, Alex, he's it's tough to get him to go to a convention. He's I tease him and say you're the JD Salinger now of comics, and he laughs. But he's been very sweet to me, and I know he's working. That wonderful Fantastic Four Full Circle book that he did a couple of years ago. He's
Mhm.
he's working on a new book of interiors as well. I don't know the subject, but let me just tease you with that information that
Oh boy,
something new from Alex is coming, hopefully soon.
that's
And no, it's I yeah, and truly, he has been so kind to me over the years, coming back and doing Word Balloon, and
that's
uh,
amazing.
yeah, he's a great guy, and I mean, again, he's a contemporary as far as age group and everything. And no, we grew up on the same stuff, so we get each other, you know.
I mean, honestly, I feel like there are a few creators that I feel like collectively, all three of us would just swoon. And I feel Alex Ross is just one that all Leo, Carrie, me, we would just be like, just you.
Exactly. The De Niro, you.
You just
I get
can't
it.
even say anything more. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. No, again, I mean those Marvel's images and also Kingdom Come. I mean they're epic, and I mean, and that's why it is so great to show a non fan that kind of art, and they're like, I had no idea it was this level of sophistication in the art. And it's like, yeah, because again, they're used to the Sunday funnies. So they're
Right.
expecting High and Lois and Beetle Bailey, and nothing wrong with those books, by the way,
No, of course not.
or those strips, but no, that's what they're expecting, just again, Sunday funny newspaper cartoons. And it's like, no, there's,
It's
we've
art.
got some real masters that actually are, as we showed earlier in the Emma Frost variants and stuff. No, there's
Yeah.
some brilliant artists out there, man. And Alex, in a lot of ways, is kind of one of those OG guys, kind of
Mhm.
starting in the shadow of Neil Adams, but obviously evolving into his own style. You can say that about Sienkiewicz as well. And Sienkiewicz, a very different painterly artist, a more impressionistic artist than a realism artist per se. But yeah,
Mhm.
it's important stuff. And again, I love over the years that he did the 1 year he did the Academy Awards poster, and that's a
Yeah.
really good Alex Ross piece. And he did the political comment. He and Steve Darnell did that Uncle Sam
Oh my
prestige
God,
thing.
yeah.
That was a very political book. He did the George Bush as a vampire biting the neck of the Statue of Liberty. To go back to those innocent years of the early 2000s. That's
Mm.
my only political comment for
Yeah, there you
today.
go. Nicely
Situation.
done. Nicely done, John. Succinct, very poignant, very nice. Great add to Uncle Sam, which is, I agree with you, another stellar
Yeah.
Alex collaboration. I don't, Carrie, Leo, do you have anything to say about Kingdom Come?
I'm
Well,
actually
go for
stuck
it.
on other things, but go ahead, Leo.
Go, Leo.
I have other things, so go with Kingdom Come.
No, I was just gonna say, I know when we reviewed it originally, that was actually my first read of it, which is crazy that I waited so long to it. But it's just such a beautiful book, both written and the artistry. It's just a perfect combination, and reading that before knowing Mark Wade and now reading his stuff now, like I'm hooked on everything Mark Wade writes. It's just he's friggin' phenomenal.
Well,
Yes.
he understands both universes. That was the great thing, even when he was on the outs with DC for a while, and now I'm glad he's back. But he really showed it's like, I know my Marvel, and I always give it up to him beyond like his Doctor Strange stuff. I thought was great. The one thing that I really think he doesn't get enough credit for was the Sue Storm Invisible Woman miniseries. And Carrie, I don't know if you've ever asked any of your guests or people at conventions, but truly, when Marvel did A Force and had that wonderful team of nothing but women characters, I'm like,
Mhm.
it's about time. And it's like, you don't need to, and I'll be even honest about what's coming with the Fantastic Four first family movie. We'll see how female Silver Surfer with and I'm forgetting her name,
Jennifer
Norrin
Garner.
Radd's, no, Norrin Radd's girlfriend.
Oh,
The
something by all.
Yeah, Shala Bal.
Yeah, Shauna Ball. Yeah,
Yeah, Shala Bal. Great
gotcha.
character. There are a million other Marvel female characters to exploit, and I mean that in the positive way of exploitation. And it's like that was unnecessary, and it kind of gets me angry because the Norrin Radd story of Silver Surfer is a very great tragic story, and I'm sure they will imprint that all on the movie version. But now millions of fans that are going to see the movie are going to be, oh yeah, that's the Silver Surfer. And no, it's not. It's a great character, but you really kind of screwed things up. I didn't even realize that it's Jennifer Garner playing her voice.
Well, it's not Jennifer Garner. Like something Jules Garner. I just know it's like I said. I went to. I was like, wait, it's Electron. Shit,
it's not James Garner. I know that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, it's. Yeah. I think it's like Julie or Jules Garner.
yeah, I
Something
thought it
like
was a
that.
different name. I thought I read
Yeah,
it different.
yeah.
And again, no disrespect to the actress.
Oh
I
no.
gotta be here. Another hot take, everybody. Hot take.
Oh
I
boy.
love Pedro Pascal. I'm not feeling Reed Richards from Pedro Pascal. I'm
You
sorry,
know what?
I'm not.
You're not the first person I've talked to about that who's has the same sentiment. They're like, we need to be a little sold. Like, and I'm kind of giving it, it's a chance. Obviously, I feel like
Sure.
the actors cast as Johnny and the Thing are perfect.
I agree. I know. Well, some people have a problem with Ben's voice, and I think they want that kind of faux Jimmy Durante that was even what Paul Frees was doing back in the '60s in that
Mhm.
original Fantastic Four cartoon. And I think that's kind of what people want. But I'm like, nah, it's cool. And Johnny seems cool. And listen, I'm cool with Sue being the leader of the team because my point with Mark Waid, it's like, no, that's how dangerous and formidable Sue Storm is. And
Oh yeah.
I mean, I know, God, I remember getting that Treasury edition of the Fantastic Four where they had the letters to the FF. Willie Lumpkin
Mhm.
came in. Did you ever read that one?
Yeah.
And people are like, why is Sue part of the team? And I understand from a 60s 10-year-old standpoint, she's a girl. We don't want girls. And Reed like admonishes and breaks the fourth wall and is like, let me tell you how important Sue is to this team. We wouldn't have beaten Dr. Doom if it wasn't for Sue breaking Johnny, Ben, and I out of whatever trap Doom put
Of
him
course.
in. And it's like, yeah, man. And again, I get it. And truly, no, thankfully, better writers and artists have shown how formidable Sue can be. And again, Mark got it right away. And it was that great. If you guys haven't read that miniseries, great, she's on a shield assignment. And it's like, yeah, you can turn invisible, so you can do recon and be an effective agent for me right now. And it's like, great.
It's
And
so funny you say that because we read a Fantastic Four story, and Carrie, I remember when we were first rehearsing it, you were like, "There's not a lot to go here for this Sue," and again, it was a script written by the late great
you're live
Stan.
reading.
What
Who
happened?
wrote it?
It was
No, I
we
was
did it was Carrie, you tell it.
oh no, I was just saying we were live reading it, not just reading it. We were performing it. So,
Okay.
but it was a Christmas
Do you
one.
remember who
Yeah.
wrote it?
Yeah, it was Stan Lee.
Oh,
Stan
so
Lee
the
wrote it.
classic.
It was for our we do a Christmas live read, and it was it was a Christmas story, but it was of course celebrating Hanukkah because Ben Grimm.
Sure. Fantastic.
It was called Rock of Ages or Rock of All Ages, and it was Stan writing it and Nick Dragata, who's killing it on Absolute Batman.
Yes, he is.
Did the artwork for it, and yeah, we were reading it.
Also, it was a modern Stan story.
Yeah, it was a modern Stan story, but it was still written like it was in the '60s.
Like Stan. Yeah.
And Carrie, I don't know if you had to flex too many muscles to read that one.
No. Oh boy, Grim, could you please bring the presents over here? Gee, let's set this under the table or under the tree. I don't know how to pronounce your holiday. Is it Hanukkah?
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, God bless. Again, forgive
was
the name drop,
cute.
kid.
It was cute.
No, yeah, but Steranko made a very good point because this was when I saw Jim holding court, he had a gallery showing of all of his shadow paperback covers, which are iconic in the same way Alex Ross is with Kingdom Come. And somebody said, isn't it a shame that Stan at that time was doing those Just Imagine DC stories? And it's like, Stan doesn't have his fastball anymore. And Steranko was very polite to the guy, but he's like, let me tell you something. Since 1940, and again, this is early 2000s, he's like, Stan has written easily 10,000, if not more, stories in every genre from Western to Millie the Model.
Right.
He's done enough hits that it's okay if he wants to do something new. And if it's not as great as his greatest output as it was in the 60s, Stan still deserves all the credit and importance to comics, and of course we're all agreeing in agreement of that. But
Of
I'll
course.
even
Oh yeah.
say regarding his 60 stories, there was that whole weird thing where Professor X in his own thoughts was kind of pining for teenage Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Again, it was
Yeah.
a different world, man. I mean, I talked to Marv Wolfman about what's her face from the Titans that turned on everybody and
With
was sleeping with
Tara.
Tara, thank you, with Deathstroke. And it's like, yeah, man, wow. And he goes, hey man, I grew up reading Lolita from Nabokov. She's not a nice woman. She's a bad kid. And it's like, and he goes, of course I couldn't get away with writing that today. Of course, and he goes, I'm aware of that. But
Oh
yeah,
my
I mean, unfortunately, again, societal mores change. But yeah, the whole Professor X Gene thing was like,
Yeah, that the little dicey, and it's so funny that you say that because I own the Judas contract, and I even when I finally read it, I was like, "Oh, Slade, this is a little questionable here."
Well,
And
bad girl, man. Bad
yeah,
girl smoking and in the lingerie. I mean, literally, one of my I did a panel in Salt Lake City at one of their Fan X shows, and I'm
mhm.
like, "Can we talk about that?" He's like, "Sure, we can talk about that." I'm like, "All right." And
Okay.
I'm down in Salt Lake City talking about this, and it's like, yeah, it happened, kids.
We listen, we have to acknowledge it all, the good, the bad, the weird.
Yeah,
It's all part of comics' journey, as you would like to say. And
completely agree.
speaking of journey, I have to admit, I haven't read Age of Ultron since I remember first getting it. So
Okay,
that was a trip for me. So basically, Leo and Carrie, I just feel like what I've just learned is that we just need to stop time traveling because every time we try to time travel and make things better, all we do is fuck it up more.
yeah.
So,
This is very
uh,
true. I got
yes,
a
What'd you
one
guys think?
panel. This is my favorite panel. I just
Bows and
I just
arrows. The
had
world's
to
going to
grab
hell,
it.
and you're sticking me with bows and arrows. There's no one like you. Yeah, that's great, man.
yeah.
Logan.
It's just
I think for
yeah.
me, my favorite moment was Wolverine stealing Nick Fury's car.
Sure.
Like I was just like, that is such a Logan thing to do.
That's
Just,
cool. My favorite low moment is defeated Cap in the fetal position
oh
until he
yeah.
figures out a battle plan, and he's just devastated by what's happened to the world. And I mean, those early Hitch issues in particular are so interesting to me because of that devastation, and also that it's you see Chicago in action, and then how
Yeah.
messed up Chicago was. And yeah, Hitch knew how to draw it and stuff. That for those first 5 issues, and not that the second 5 were any worse. They're
Oh
great,
yeah, no, no, yeah,
great
absolutely.
series. But yeah, no, it's and then yeah, all the timey-wimey stuff, as they say in Doctor Who, I really enjoy. And yeah, and also it just felt I really prefer this story to the Age of Ultron movie 2 years later. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I just remember when this came out, and I feel like probably some of the book sales were people thinking it was a tie-in. Like, yeah, this has nothing to do with that movie.
Well, again,
Uh,
it was 2 years before the movie, so yeah, only people retroactively might think, "Oh, this is just an adaptation." And it's like, no, no, it's a very different story.
This
um, yeah,
this
go Carrie.
panel or these couple pages right back there. That was such a cool effect to see put in place. You don't just the blurred sort of thing. Like it has
Sure,
a I don't know if they just ran a filter over it or if you, it seems like that would
I
be
don't know either.
easier than to draw it that way, but
Oh,
it
I
was
would
just a
imagine you're
neat
right,
thing to
Carrie.
read.
Yeah, I would imagine it is an after effect after the original,
It,
finished art and everything. Yeah,
yeah, it
It
was.
just
Yeah,
I got to ask
so-
Hitch that next time I talk to him.
yeah, it just
yeah.
it feels so it brings you deeper into it because you're suddenly experiencing all of the jarring stuff with him. Just so this is just so well put together artistically and
I,
written. So yeah.
I and it's funny because I was reading this, I was like, man, I miss Bendis doing Marvel events because I have so much. Like, I have a box of just DC Marvel events,
Sure.
and I was like, so many of my Marvels are just like Miller and then Bendis, and then the occasionally other thing, and I'm just like, and I thought about it. It's like, my God, he did so many of the really big Marvel events, and I was just like listing. I was like, Secret War, House of M,
Secret
Secret
Avengers,
Invasion, Secret
Dark Avengers, and
Dark Reign,
the
yeah,
Sea or Dark Reign, the Siege.
yep, and then
Yeah, yeah.
Age of
And I'll be
Ultron.
honest, yeah, and I like the Age of Ultron. I'll be honest, near the end, like Civil War II and some of these other things, it was time for Brian to go. I mean, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but really, it was like, I mean, they were asking him too, like, well, what do you want to do next? And he's like, I think I've kind of done everything that I want to do.
Yeah,
And,
I'm gonna 100% agree with you. That's when I was like, okay, like it's like this isn't the same. It's kind of like when Meatloaf was touring again. It was still Meatloaf, but it really wasn't Meatloaf.
It's not bad out of hell, Meatloaf. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. It was. I was like, you took the words right out of my mouth. I'm good. Thanks. Bye.
No, and again,
but
and I liked his DC output. I was bummed that it didn't last longer and that it didn't have as many opportunities to finish some of the ideas that he had laid out there and stuff. So
yeah, but I mean, again, it was a great book. I mean, Bendis always knew how just great collaborators. I mean, in this one, he had Hitch, he had Brandon Peterson, he had the late Charles Pacheco.
yes.
And then I think the last issue had like a smattering. Issue 10 had like a smattering of artists, and it was just beautiful collection of things. And I mean, Bendis always knew how to take really big stories and still squeeze the humanity out of them, which is it's hard. And I feel like anytime I would always see someone critical, I'm like, okay, where's your version? Where, how would
Well,
you do it?
sure.
And I'm just like, do you understand? Like all of these different characters, giving a voice, giving them their moment. Any idea how hard that is?
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to like it, but you give the man or the men, women, everything. You give them their respect.
I get it. I also appreciated because AI is so prevalent now and it's something our culture is currently dealing with even more so than back in 2013. I was impressed with how much this held up as far as being and I know it dovetailed then into Avengers AI, which was a Sam Humphries event that followed. And don't get me wrong, there is part of me too that it's like, can we like take a breather and just have the books for like at least 6 months to a year to appreciate whatever the current. That's why I'm impressed right now with One World Under Doom and everything that's going on in Marvel right now, because it is like, all right, no, this is our status quo for a while. And I think they finally kind of learned it, because event, specials stop being specials if it happens every day.
Thank you. It's the same way I feel. And Leo and Carrie, we've talked about this. That just I feel like number ones mean nothing to me anymore.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, Drew. Could not agree more. Honestly, I keep telling them all, why don't you number? And it's fine. I don't mind. I like legacy numbers. I love that Detective and Action are in the thousands. That's fantastic. But it's like, why don't you just like number? All right, it's the Judas Contract 1 through 6. And then the next story is Age of Ultron 1 through 6. And I'm crossing my companies. But yeah, I'm like, that way you've always got a new number one. And it's clearer to the trade buyer that, when this collects Squirrel Girl 1 through 6. And I remember in a year and a half, as I'm sure you guys all remember, that we had like 3 different Squirrel Girl number ones within like a year and a half. And it's like, you're not helping your trade audience when you do that stuff. And they're like, well, where do we start? What's going on? I don't know. And and it's like, it's unnecessary.
It is, and it's just like I said. Comics are comics,
Comics are comics.
Comics for comics. They're always
also. I think there needs to be some break from canon, or a reset. Like I'm very excited to see what Mark Waid does with his DC history event.
Agreed.
But like nowadays, any new story coming out, the whole Alfred thing is still
Sure.
killing me.
I get it. No,
like,
Leo, I get it.
yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, no, I totally get, the decision to kill him off, especially like in front of Damien and all that. But, that one event now affects, every story going forward. Like,
I agree.
they teased bringing him back, when Batman was going through the multiverse and everything. But, now there's no more Alfred stories. Like, what the heck?
Well, and again, thank God they do still do evergreen stories that still has Alfred's. I mean, we're getting the Batman Robin year 1 that Mark is doing, and Alfred is so
Great
important in that story. Yeah, excellent story, man. And yeah, you're right. MP, who says Alfred will be back within 2 years. They are. God, I remember having this discussion about when Bendis outed Clark Kent as Superman, and I'm like, is this? And I was talking to all these critics. And I'm like, the secret identity will be back, because honestly, I'm like, I appreciated the idea when Brian told me. Forgive me, everybody. Again, I don't mean to like name drop or whatever. Hey, Mark Pratt, good to see you. Mark Pratt, by the way, everybody, excellent playwright who has made this 4-color trilogy of plays, and did the Mark of Cain was about Bob Kane. Then he did an EC one about William Gaines and all the problems he had with the Senate hearing committees when they were trying to tamp down the comics code and all that nonsense. And then the third one was the House of Ideas, all about Stan and Jack. And they're wonderful plays, and they are touring. Mark has made them available regionally to play in other cities and stuff, but he did them in Chicago. Brilliant plays.
Mark, did you happen to go to theater school at University of Nebraska in Kearney? Because I think that we were in a play together. I was
crazy.
You guys were major there. What?
He says yes.
So okay, so Mark Pratt was in a Shakespeare play with me, and on opening night we had a dance thing, and there was a commedia tableau. We had a commedia tableau and above us.
Oh my God,
and
he was
like
going to
all
ask
these
you
people
too,
sitting in the
Gary.
back, of the thing. When you were on stage, you stayed on. When you weren't acting, you stayed on stage watching. And he unlaced my dress before the final dance scene where we're doing, the old time Shakespearean dances. And so I'm like trying to dance around and pull my top up and keep it from falling, because the material, those are heavy costumes, and I didn't have a lot holding it up to begin with. So I just, I loved it. Mark, we have to get in touch with each other. I used to be friends with you. I lost my Facebook page, and then I lost everybody. I love
Facebook,
you. I'm so glad you're doing great.
Yeah, he really it was so sweet. He was at the Svengoolie panel. There you go. He apologizes. Different time. He was young and stupid when he did that.
Yes, I have done similar, Mark.
And he's
I can agree with you. Young and stupid.
Hopefully he's going to be at that Kingdom Come screening on Saturday night. Left the tech kid at will call for him, so he's absolutely going to come. But yeah, it's these plays are fantastic, and I really do hope Mark gets more traction and more cities do them, because I would put them up there with what Fred Van Lente and Crystal Skillman did with King Kirby, and Crystal's a brilliant off-Broadway playwright in her own right. But yeah, I'm really happy for Mark. He's a good playwright.
It's so funny you bring up Fred, because I just saw Fred at Free Comic Book Day at the in near where I live.
Sure.
So I was just Leo. Carrie, I told you this, but Leo, I was just like, I know that guy. I was like, what is this tradition? We always run into guests on Free Comic Book Day, and I was like, Fred, I was on a show with you around November, and he was like, oh yeah, hi. I was like, the one with the squirrel girl. Like, right. And I'm like, Carrie, you're famous.
They, there's such a great like power couple of writers, Fred and Crystal. And I have friends in New York that are both actors and playwrights themselves, and not as accomplished as Crystal. And I was like, oh, my friend Fred Van Lente, his wife. I don't know if you guys are aware of Crystal Skillman, and they are like, Crystal Skillman, and not in a pejorative way, Carrie. But I knew him through Fred, through Fred, and I'm like, yeah, Fred's wife, yeah, And again, I mean, God bless her. She put me in a couple. She put me in a play that they did here in Chicago. Mark says loves Fred and Crystal. No,
There you
they're
go.
lovely people, and truly, I've become as close to Crystal as I would say I am to Fred. And really, when we're all together and stuff, I love them. We'll have dinner together at a show or whatever, and when
Great.
I'm in New York, I make sure I go see them. No, they're really really great people, and I was so thrilled when they collaborated together and did that great King Kirby play that they made.
Yeah,
And
heard
playing
good.
around
Good.
and
Yeah.
everything. So,
And,
you know.
and
He's
another
wonderful.
thing that I just have to share from Free Comic Book Day is that we had the people at All Yeah always have a great smattering of artists for people to meet, do commissions and
Oh, yeah.
whatnot. And I got this great book called Growing Up Farley, which
Sure.
is yeah, which is a great book by Kevin Farley, who was Chris's brother, Frank Marfino, and then the artist Ryan Dunleavy, who was excuse me, who was there, who this
Yep.
beautiful trade paperback. So I got it signed, and he drew me a Matt Foley drawing, which was just fantastic. And
Yeah.
this book, if you're a fan of SNL, if you're a fan of Chris and me, I'm John. I think you would appreciate this. Back when I was a little heavier, I wanted to go to cons as Matt Foley, and I just imagined giving. Yeah, exactly. I just imagined giving pep talks to Avengers. Like I had this great spiel ready for Hawkeye,
No, put my
and I was
Matt
just,
glasses
I
on.
just what did I tell him? I said, hold on, I gotta puff up my chest. Yeah, I just remember it was this. So I understand that that didn't really work out, but eventually you're going to get a 2-season deal that's just going to end with a lucrative deal with a lucrative failing toy thing, and you're going to end up in an Avengers van down by the river, and it was just amazing. And
Dunleavy's a good friend, and we hung out at C2E2, and I had him on the show to promote the Farley book and everything. And I'm so happy. Ryan is a brilliant cartoonist, as evidenced by that Matt
it,
Foley drawing inside that you
it was
showed.
so great. It was,
And
yeah.
he and Fred did Action Philosophers, Action
Mm-hmm.
Presidents, the
Mm-hmm.
comic book history of comics, the comic book history of animation. And I had him do sketch cards. And he did because his depiction of Walt Disney is chain smoking Walt, but he's wearing the Mickey Mouse ears and he's built like Mickey Mouse. So
Right.
imagine the Steamboat Willie body with the Walt Disney face and the Mickey Mouse ears and chain smoking and stuff. And it's like that, and also disgruntled Jack Kirby. And I forget what issue ends with Jack getting kicked out of DC and nothing's going right for him. So he's got to begrudgingly go back to Marvel. And Stan's, welcome back, Jack. And Jack's just like, just burning, just so small. And those eyes and those eyebrows are just tell the whole story. But that's Dunleavy, man. He's just a brilliant artist. I love him. And
I swear,
he's like, he's like, hey, let's have dinner one night. And he goes, you keep talking about Miller's Pub. Next time you guys are in Chicago, remind me, and we'll go to Miller's Pub.
yes,
one of the greatest
sir.
Places to go for dinner. You don't have to drink. Don't worry. It's what's great
Oh,
about
no, I'm gonna drink.
it goes back to the 30s, and during Prohibition, it was a sneak joint that sold sandwiches on the top floor, but it was kind of like the movie The Sting, where in the bottom they had an underground casino and illegal bookmaking and casino games going on. So it's this amazing Chicago place that has this incredible history and a very important place for people in Chicago media. It was I really felt like I was part of the club when I was in Chicago broadcasting and started going to Miller's. And a lot of my friends that were in TV and radio and stuff, they're, oh, we love Miller's. Oh, what a great place. And so that's where I take all the comic book people.
Oh no, and I just need to say this, John, because I remember the first time we had you on, I still chuckle at how good your Harry Carey impression was, because again, you're from Chicago, but I still never forget the first time I went. Right now, the only time I've ever been to C2E2. Me and my girl were just there, and we just did the whole thing, and it was wonderful. And we saw a lot of great cosplays. We had a wonderful time. But the one that made it for me is there was a Harry Carey cosplayer.
Sure.
And I loved, because he had everything. He had the mug and I'm just like, can you please do the thing? It was like, hey everybody, Harry Carey. I'm done. I'm done.
You do it better than Will Ferrell, man. I love Will Ferrell's take, and it is funny because it's just this, it's all the crazy stuff. And having known Harry as I did in the 90s and stuff, sweetheart of a guy. But no, my friend George Hoffman really cracked the code on how to do the voice. Harry Carey, boy, oh boy. And I always do, boy, oh boy. Hey, let me hear you. And it's true, man. He was nuts. Can I tell a quick Harry Carey story? Because
Go for it, man.
there was sorry, Carey and Leo, but you'll laugh at this. During a baseball, it's a leisurely paced sport. It's not football. Right. It's not constant action like hockey and basketball. So you have these like doldrums of, the catcher scratching himself, the pitcher repositioning. Now I'm glad they put the pitching clock in, but this is decades before that. And so Harry would have to fill the time. And there, between batters and, kind of a nothing at bat. Boy, I can't believe it. My buddy Jeff Shumway died. Oh my God. Stoney, I can't believe it. He goes, just last week we were together and we were laughing and he's so full of life. Now he's stone cold dead. Here's Leon Durham at bat. And that was it. And Stone, you could hear him laughing his ass off. And that was Harry, man. Just whatever thought flew in his brain. So Will Ferrell's characterization, not too far from the truth. That's the truth.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. Because I knew that was coming. You're just going to be like, and now he's dead. All right.
Now he's not only dead, stone cold dead. Just crazy stuff. Or Marlee Matlin, the actress from Children of a Lesser God and a million other great movies.
Oh my God.
She's deaf, obviously. A brilliant actress and everything. And Arnie Harris, who was the director of all the Cub games back from the 70s to the early 2000s. Brilliant man. Brilliant. The networks really wanted him. And he's like, I like my life in Chicago. I'm staying here. Leave me alone. Well, anyway, he would get in, the broadcaster's ears and go, all right, Harry, we're going to show a shot of Marlee Matlin, the actress. She's deaf. And he's like, look who's enjoying the game today. Marlee Matlin, the actress. She's deaf, And it's like, okay. Harry, Jesus Christ. So those are I've got even more stories. But
my God.
So yeah, Harry Carey was
no, thank you,
one
John.
of a kind. One of a kind. The best. They don't make them like that anymore, man. He was having an affair with Anheuser-Busch, one of the Anheuser-Busch, August Busch the 4th or 3rd, his wife, and it was found out. And so this is when he was the voice of the St. Louis Cardinals, based in St. Louis. Budweiser, massive sponsor of St. Louis Cardinal baseball, and nobody could prove it. But the word was that, the Bush family, and this is decades ago, so I feel safe saying this, arranged for Harry to have a car accident while he was walking, and somebody tried to run him off the road as a pedestrian, and so he knew it was time for him to leave St. Louis. So he went to Oakland for a year, and Charlie Finley, the owner of the A's, was dirt cheap. And then he went to Chicago and he started with the White Sox for 10 years and then finally was with the Cub until his final years in broadcasting. But yeah, what a colorful man, colorful career. Hilarious.
Yeah. No, thank you. I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
So good.
I was like, yeah, whatever. Back to comics. That's great. And Carrie's
that's just Leo's face.
It's all right.
Leo does things that we have no idea what's happening throughout the show. Before I was part of the show, I sat and watched an episode of Midweek Geeks, and he just put up a new logo avatar thing. I was like, oh, does that mean we're going to get new shirts from the audience? Viewing. And all of a sudden Leo's doing stuff and he's just not really participating in conversation whatsoever. And then 45 minutes later, all of a sudden he's like, look at these shirts I designed. And he's just like, you seriously on the air just designed t-shirts?
That's great.
Yeah. And because we always have I think so we always
never know.
Yeah, and me and Carrie always joke about what he's doing, and I think my joke was I think that he's probably won enough to pay off his mortgage on online poker. You're just so just he's just sitting there and just that's why he drinks occasionally. It's just like it wasn't a good night. We're gonna have to sell the other shed. Damn it.
No, I was checking on Switchboard. We have a separate stream going, so I needed to.
Okay,
that's fine. No, it's one of the things we just get so scared because he doesn't sometimes say a lot, and me and Carrie can talk. I mean, John, because you've had Carrie is, if she had a badge for being one of your top 10 fans, Carrie'd be like, "I'm going for number 1."
Oh, that's great, Carrie. I didn't even know how you
But
do that. You know.
I never know when you're going to be on, and I have
I know.
this show and then another network that I do multiple shows on, depending on.
Sure.
Summer right now is kind of odd, but so I'll sometimes catch like the tail end of your show or something going
Oh,
around. But
sure.
I love watching you. You're just a great
That's great.
interviewer, and I'm
Oh,
learning
that means a lot.
so many neat things because I'm learning about a lot more about the noir stuff, and I'm poaching guests from you. Like I
Good.
see somebody, I'm
Hey,
like,
great.
just saw you
Listen,
over there. This was great. I would love to interview you if you did, and I appreciate it so much every time when we're
I'm
on. When
glad.
you're just like, oh, she's on this podcast. That's great. I love that you say that. Thank you so
Well,
much.
again,
Seriously.
you
Because
guys do a great show, and also listen, there's more than enough room. There back when we started, again, because I go back to '05, and I am
Oh,
one of the OG comic book podcasters. There were people before me. Comic Geek Speak is like 2 months before me, but my friend Collected Comics Library, Chris Marshall, and there was another guy, I can't remember his name, but literally it would just be him by himself. These are the books I bought this week. These are my reviews. Great. Leah Dunham, I Read Comics, great female host.
mhm.
But anyway, one guy in particular, and I won't name him because he's like, hey, I was here first, and it's like, how on the back then when there were magazines, I'm like, you see on the magazine rack, there's Time, there's Newsweek, there's U.S. News and World Report. They all cover the same thing, but they're all coming at it from a different way because they're different people. That's why, like Dave Harper, who I think we were talking about off the air, who does a
Mhm.
great podcast called Off Panel, and he's out in Alaska and stuff. And he's a brilliant podcaster. And clearly, some people are like, "Oh, no offense, but I'm talking to Brubaker the same week you are." Great,
Sure.
fantastic, man. I don't worry. Jesse Owens, the great Olympian, run your own race. Don't worry about the guy in the lane next to you. And
Thank
that's the
you.
thing, man. I did radio for years before I started doing my podcast. I'm glad I did both for as long as I did, and now it's
Mhm.
just about Word Balloon. And for me, it's like I just feel like, all right, hey, it's a chance to talk to some of these people that I have grown to become friends with, but also new people as well. And it's fun for me, and it's my work.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And again, your support, your praise, everything. It's just so great because again, it's we see what you do, and we're like, this guy gets it, and and you're getting these huge names like Carrie, like, oh, this is the person on Word Balloon. I'm like, God damn, that's amazing.
It
Like,
honestly, guys, truly, I'm still getting old guard people that I've never had before, and it's like, well, this is great, and long time coming. Or again, also new people who are like, oh man, the embarrassing thing again being 20 years. It's like, yeah, I grew up listening to you, and it's like, all right.
hey,
I know that's a compliment, but I'm
I,
like, okay, all right.
listen, one of our guest hosts was, I think, like the first person I can think of who was like, "Oh yeah, I love watching your show." Like our guest host, Mahana, she'll just be like, "Yeah, I was such a fan. I love listening to you guys while I'm working. You guys are so funny." And I'm just like,
Yeah, yeah. But isn't
"It
that great? True, isn't that great? Because
it
truly,
it,
it's
it,
like,
it is," but it's just one of those things where I was like, "Don't tell me this. My head doesn't need
no,
to
it's
get
I
any
see.
bigger."
Well, and
You know,
it's a compliment, but also to hear people say, "God, I've got like this dead end job that is so boring. Thank God you do a 2 hour talk with Bendis because it just I can listen to that and do my job, and it means a lot and everything." So
yeah,
I don't know, Justin. Justin's asking if he saw me at C2E2 this
I
year.
don't know, John. What's your
I only
prescription like these days? I mean, you guys both are bespectacled, so you could have seen each other,
Maybe,
but
but I was definitely there. Yeah, I only did the one panel. I only did Svenguli's panel this year. Sometimes
oh,
I do
nice.
more. But it was I was telling the group that I've been having trouble with my legs, and thankfully they're gonna get fixed. But
Good.
yeah, it's kind of limited my walking around Artist Alley. God, Friday, guys, my back gave out on me, and I'm literally like leaning over at everybody's table, basically upside down L shape, and just like, hey, I'm really sorry about leaning in over you right now, but I need that for my back. Otherwise, I'd be screaming right now. And
This sounds familiar.
Yeah,
I wonder where I've seen this. I
yeah.
feel like I
I,
feel like someone comes to mind who yelled at me last year about making him run.
Leo, I
Hmm.
so hear Leo. Our
oh
pal
yeah.
design always say we're gonna walk like men. You guys feel free to run. We don't run anymore. We don't need to run anymore. So don't
All
sweat
right.
it, man.
I don't, John. I don't run. I just take really big steps, and Carrie can attest to that.
Yes, I'm 5'5", and you're like 6'3", and man is plowing, and I'm just I'm just drug behind, hair flying, like I said, purse whacking everybody as I go. I've got a
I understand. God, do you guys
But-
remember this?
terrifying.
This was almost 20 years ago when the Twilight movies were happening
Mhm.
at and San Diego. Do you guys remember the sad thing that happened with people running at San Diego? This was,
No.
preview night is Wednesday, the first day is Thursday, but sometimes people are lining up for Hall H as early as Monday. And that was the case when the Twilight fans. This is actually a sad story, but the Twilight fans and there were hundreds of people waiting for Twilight in line, and they wanted to be there on Thursday whenever the panel was, and so they asked the line to move, and they had to move across the street, and nobody wanted to lose their place in line. And when they were running, somebody got hit and actually got killed by a car that was parallel to the convention center. And I remember this one idiot podcaster going, well, what are you going to do about it, San Diego? And it's like, no, I don't think that was the convention's fault or the city's fault. I'm like, listen, again, logistics, and nobody was expecting this. And it was a terrible accident, but it was an accident. And also, I know you may not have that front row seat, but, please be careful. And it's like, you gotta, so yeah, no, I don't run. My point is I don't run. So yeah. Anyway.
But speaking of something to kind of lighten that mood, is that Jar had something really nice he was saying about your show, John, that he was basically I don't know if can we bring that up again, Leo or Carrie? Like I feel like John said, he said word balloon helps him get through so many days.
Means a lot, man. Thanks, Jar.
And he's always compliments on the chemistry. So
a guy told me he had to spend time in recovery at a halfway house, and he's like, seriously, man, your show meant so much to me. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, well, I'm glad you're out, and I'm glad you're okay. Yeah, man. And again, the Monday person that has to do filing or whatever, and again has their earbuds in. And that's how I am with my podcasts, the podcasts I listen to and stuff. It's a pleasure to listen to good conversation, and truly. It's why I come back to Splash Pages, because you guys provide good conversation.
Woo.
Man.
I might try off screen like at some point. Let's see. There's yeah.
Oh, Mark says that was a moment that the San Diego people were simply not prepared for. Yeah, that was when the crowds got out of control. Yeah, absolutely, man. That in a lighter way, my buddy Matt Klickstein wrote this great history of San Diego Comic-Con. And I remember everyone during Twilight was so like, oh, these people are invading our clubhouse, basically. And it's like, Star Trek got the same grief in the 70s when they were starting the San Diego Comic-Con, because they were used to sci-fi conventions being more like the Worldcon for sci-fi and stuff.
Right.
And it was more literary. And, and they're like, yeah, I don't know if we like these Star Trek people here. Can you imagine now? And my God, you guys even know. And I don't know how much you guys have been to San Diego yourselves, but my God, okay, well, you see the floor, the main floor and stuff, and my God, just the iconography that's there for Star Wars and Star Trek and all these non-comic book things. And comic books are still, and that was the other thing that drove me nuts about San Diego, that people who hadn't been there are like, well, it's not about comics anymore. Bullshit. Yeah, CNN and USA Today and other mainstream news outlets, when they cover, they're all about Hall H. I get that, but honestly, man, they still have a program that is like the size of what used to be a good sized magazine, and every day I would count at least 20 panels going on that were purely about comics,
right?
And not only current, but the history of comics and documentaries about comics, and an academic wing that is talking about when we defeated Japan in World War II, this man drew a comic strip for the Japanese audience to renormalize relationships between Japan and the U.S. and all the things that the Army was trying to do to help the survivors of the Japan attacks, and here's where you go, and here's what you can do. And yeah, and it's like I had no idea that comic strip existed. Why would I? It was being made for the Japanese audience and stuff. So
Right.
yeah, no, it's all the conventions, most of the conventions, because some call themselves Comic Cons and really aren't. And some years, unfortunately, it's like it's really more about Hollywood than it is about comic books and stuff. But thankfully, Terrificon, C2E2, and New
Yep.
York and San Diego, no, they're still very much about comic books.
Comic Con. Yep,
Did,
absolutely.
did you see the book coming out from Images imprint, Suzuki? Dread the Hall H. It's an anthology of horror stories that take place using comic convention tropes. And so it's going to be glorious. Like they've got some great people working on it, and I'm just so excited because they have
I didn't know about that.
going.
That's amazing.
I'll send you a link for it. I don't know when is it. I pulled it up again real quick, so it's not coming out until pages are gonna load all the way, but yeah, it's coming out sometime soon.
Cool. No, that's great to hear. Yeah, and also, hasn't it been great to see Mad Cave and Vault and some of these other secondary, and I don't mean that in a pejorative way, but these secondary publishers that are just making great comics. I'm so happy for. I'm not a big horror fan. I'll admit that, but I'm thrilled that the genre is being respected and taken care of in comics in a way. Certainly in the last 15 years. I mean, we've always had good horror comics over the years, but I just think the amount now that we're getting are amazing. Mad Cave is killing it with all the licenses they have.
Oh, yeah.
And we're getting, Jeremy Adams on while he's doing great work at DC. He's also doing Flash Gordon, things like that. Lemire and all the great stuff Lemire is doing. Boom is excellent. Absolutely.
Distillery. Ghost
Distillery
Machine.
is fantastic. Yes. Ghost Machine is great. My buddy Jeff, absolutely. And all the cohorts that Jeff has working for him at Ghost Machine. Yeah, it's a good time for comics. It really is.
Yeah.
And that's gonna be July 23rd, by the way. My article.
Okay, that Hall H book. Okay, July 23rd. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Leo, what you got?
So speaking of a time for good comics, what are you reading nowadays, John? For fun.
Well, I loved the Black Label last days of Lex Luthor that Hitch and Mark and Kevin Nolan put together. That was great. I'm a big Black Label fan. I always loved Daredevil. Daredevil's always one of my go-to books for Marvel. I think Philip Kennedy Johnson on the Hulk is doing amazing work. Ben Percy's doing great stuff on the Wolverine books and Helverine. Erica Schultz, someone, when COVID was happening, there were a couple creators that were breaking in, and they suggested spotlights on individuals like David Pepos, who, by the way, is also doing great work now, and Erica and people like that. And I'm like, well, I don't know these people. And it was funny because prophetically, the guy's like, well, 3 years from now, they're going to be writing DC and Marvel books. I'm like, yeah, but it's today. And I'm not saying we shouldn't have a panel with these people, but I go to give them a spotlight. I go, I don't know what they're doing. And to the creators' credit, they're both working for Marvel and doing great work, and so they're two great examples. So I really follow writers more than titles. And that's why, it was great catching up again with Ben Percy, and Ben's an amazing writer, there you go. Yeah. And I agree with Justin, the OZ by Pepos, it was kind of a fun dystopian take on the Wizard of Oz that was really, really good. No, David's a very inventive writer. Tim Seeley, I love everything that Tim Seeley ever writes. He's a brilliant conceptual guy. Jeremy's a great writer, like I said. Chris Cantwell and I are going to catch up in a few weeks. IDW, and yes, as Drew is with Star Wars, that's how I am with Star Trek. IDW is doing exceptional work in the Star Trek universe, and even making concepts that I'm not crazy about on camera, like Discovery. Well, they're writing good Discovery stories at IDW, and Ryan North doing great stuff on the Lower Decks adaptations, and Ryan, of course, is fantastic. Another great read. So there you go. There's a good smattering of people that I'm really appreciating their writing, and I always love the art too. But I am more of a writer guy first. So
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I just
Van
saw that,
Horizon.
Justin. A Van Horizon book coming from IDW. Yeah, I think I got the press release for that
Yeah.
today, or I read about it
See,
today. One of the
I'm usually behind the writing too before I go for the books. I've been reading since I was, like 2.5, 3 years old, but I've
sure.
always been
Thanks for telling-
deep into the story. But we had Phil Hester on
Love Phil.
last week,
Love Phil.
and oh,
Right.
he
What's he
is
working on?
amazing. He couldn't. I don't believe he could share what his most
Okay.
recent thing that was coming
Okay.
No,
out was going to
but he
be,
definitely
but
said that there's some good stuff that he's
it's
working on. That
yeah.
I think one of them might have been something Dark Horse, right, Gary?
Okay. Could
I
be.
think
don't know.
yeah.
He
But
said he couldn't talk to us about it, but he said that he's working on some really exciting new projects that he's looking to release. I think one of them was a Dark Horse thing, but Dark Horse is really tight-lipped about new
Well, they're
projects.
slow. Yeah, they want the series, the mini series in the can before they start soliciting. So I understand that,
yeah,
and I know it's frustrating for the creators, but Carrie,
yeah.
did you want to continue? Forgive me, I didn't mean to interrupt you,
Yeah,
Oh,
but
you did good.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
no. It was just that we were talking about with him, like we read The Wretch,
great,
and
great,
how he is able to tell so much story with so few words.
yes,
His ability
yes,
to because he is both an artist and a writer, and
agreed.
being able to write a panel thing set up like that is awesome. And I was like, that's a panel I'd want to host. Is like
Phil
get
Hester,
a couple of
sure,
the
or just in
yeah, and just
general.
well, him and a couple of the other people who are able to convey, like how to do storytelling without how to show not tell more stuff,
Right. Yeah, the brevity.
and
Yeah, the brevity in
and
comic book
lividly.
writing. No, I understand what
Yeah,
you're saying, and I agree with you. And that is something that Bendis has said over the years as well, that he will lift word balloons out of panels because he's like, the art tells the moment. I don't need to say anything here. And especially growing up on reading those 60s Silver Age stories where literally you had the dialogue box. Superman heads to through the time barrier to go back to Krypton before he was born. And then you see the art showing that he's going through the waves of the time barrier, and then the dialogue bubble says, "I've got to go back to Krypton before I was born." And it's like, yeah, again, for 10-year-olds, we needed that. But no, today's readers are a little sharper and they understand. But Phil,
right.
I don't know if he mentioned what that he was also one thing he was doing in recent years. They brought in a bunch of new younger artists to do those YA graphic novel adaptations of like Nightwing and Zatanna and things like that. And if
Yeah.
they weren't used to the progression of comic panels and pages, Phil was brought in as kind of a technical advisor, and he would really kind of walk them through and go, no, you want to do it this way, and really
Yeah.
help them with their art to better serve a comic book reading audience rather than, a lot of them were just single images for covers or, in interior illustration, for prose novels and stuff. And they weren't used to doing
Yeah.
comics and stuff. So Phil's a great teacher as well.
Yeah, and Mark Waid said something the last time he was on your show too about so you have all of this exposition and backstory. You have 12 pages of that. I want to know all about it in the first 2 panels. Otherwise, it's not important. And it goes from there on. We can figure stuff out by what happens in the story. We don't need to have the first book just introduce the character because
Absolutely.
there's no
Yep.
reason. So I think
I'm psyched for
that
his, by the way, I'm psyched for his upcoming Superboy, Clark Kent Superboy storyline that's coming in action soon. And
nice.
I don't think it started yet, but he was, kind of laying it out for me on the show. And again, man, and I'm sure I've said this to you guys before, and I'm glad you guys have had the opportunity. If you've had the opportunity to have Mark on, I hope so.
a couple times. Yeah, we love
Great.
him.
Excellent. Yeah, Mark has really become a good friend, and that meant a lot. And really, because again, just like you guys, love his stuff. Even going back to when he was a critic at Amazing Heroes in the mid '80s, before he broke through and everything.
Oh,
But
yeah.
no, he's one of my favorite people. And back then, in my early years, he'd be like, "Well, if we could talk for like a half hour, maybe 40 minutes, that's all." And I always have to imitate him when I talk about Mark. But now it's like, yeah, sure, John. Okay. And I
Well,
mean, like, I'll be like, all right, it's been an hour 15. all right, I got another 15 minutes of me. I'm like, yes, 90 minutes with Mark. Good. All right, great. So yeah.
Well, I will say this. One, we've interviewed him a bunch, and if you see him in a con recently, and you know how much he loves his Diet Coke, if you see in his Diet Coke like a Superman cozy, that was Carrie gave that to him. We gave it to him at Terrificon.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and
He
he
posted a
posted.
picture.
Yeah, he posted a photo of that he was at a con. I think it was like something in like Lexington, and I saw the cozy, and I was like, "This is how you know you're doing well."
Absolutely,
I was like,
guys.
"Terry,
No, good
you
job.
did good. Your
Good job.
casual bribery."
Have you ever seen that door to his writing room? That is
No,
a recreation of the Fortress of Solitude gold door.
Mike, oh my God, just giving Leo more ideas.
He's nuts.
Jesus.
Leoni's mouth dribbled like,
He for a brief period he lived in central Indiana, and he really wanted to redesign his house, and he wanted to put a bat pole in the house,
nice.
but they wouldn't let the zoning code. They're like, we can't do that. He's like, come on, I'll have you can see it, you can expect it. It will have petting. They're like, no, there are no children here. No. He's like, all right. That's why he moved back to LA, because he's like, all right, the hell with this. So it cracked me up. But no,
Indiana.
Exactly. See, I'm from Illinois, so that is sadly that's part of the reason to be a resident. And Indiana feels the same way about Illinois. It always cracks me up, man. Oh, you're from Illinois, and I'm like, I have no hate. I don't know why you do, but I have no hate.
It's just a state. It's just
exactly,
a state.
Man. I don't know. What states are you guys all in beyond confusion?
New York,
Nebraska.
Wow. There you go, man. Oh yeah, Leo. So yeah, Terrificon's local for you, Leo.
That's matter of fact, I'm about 10 minutes away. So
wow, that's great, man. I took full advantage of the dispensary that was only 10 minutes away in Quint. I forget which town.
Probably Norwich or
it was Norwich. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think it was. Absolutely, man. Yeah. I'm like, oh, it's legal. And it's only 5 minutes by Uber. Great. I'm there.
Yeah. Oh man.
I swear, everybody, I don't do it until after hours. I would never do a podcast or a panel altered. I would.
Oh yeah, no. But
guys, don't you know podcasts? They're like, yeah, we're talking comics and we're drinking. And again, maybe you guys drink during the show, and that's okay. But like, don't get blitzed. And I know a few shows that like the guy or woman gets blitzed, and it's like, maybe not. You gotta still do a decent conversation, right?
Well, we've had guests.
Well, let's just say that there are sometimes our splash pages goes to smashed pages. Jeremy has our own private dispensary.
Wow.
And
actually, I had to cancel a show one time not because of Jeremy, but he gave me
this story.
So he gave me some butter. And
sure. Butter, sure.
Yeah. So I was making my first batch of brownies ever.
Attaboy.
And I didn't realize you're not supposed to lick the spoon, and I did it multiple times throughout. Oh my god! I had a religious experience. It was
I thought I was going to be in my 70s or maybe even my 80s before it was going to be legal in Illinois. And when it happened 10 years ago, or slightly less, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, me and my buddies were all in our 50s, and we're like, yay! Thank God. It's legal now. We're okay.
We just
I'm 5 minutes away by foot from my one of my dispensaries, which is insane.
We just passed it to make it legal, but
cool.
I mean, like the majority went through, the ballot went through, but they still haven't acted upon it and gone through all the little bits and bobs and little because Nebraska tries so hard to be blue, and yet with all the farmers and stuff, they forget that like there's like 2 cities in Nebraska, and then there are plains, and farms and smaller communities.
Sure.
But that's a lot of the voters too, and it's very red. So our governors are generally like, oh shit, those people got it passed. Let's see how we can delay it. You know, I'm not trying
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
but
Usually takes
oh,
about a year for the dispensaries to start
our
popping up after it gets legal. There you go.
yeah,
Fucking Nebraska.
we have like Lincoln currently probably has about 50 head shops now, and it is not a big city because they're just waiting. You know, they're all the CBD stuff right now, but they are
Sure.
just
Sure.
waiting.
You're waiting.
It'll
And
come.
because it doesn't cost them anything to sit around and sell vape juice and bongs, you know.
Sure.
Oh my God.
And we
Okay, I will say this is that John, should you ever have a chance to have anything Jar makes, he makes it on his level, and that, I mean, Carrie is like my permanent con roommate because we're just the odd couple of rooming together. I think Carrie has the best stories about how his stuff will just tranquilize me. And if you've seen me in a con, I'm on sensory overload. Everything is at 14, and I have to be everywhere, see everybody, hug everybody, give all the candy, do all the interviews. So by the time I'll take one of his brownies, what was that? How did you say, Carrie? It was okay. I'm just gonna lie down now, and then boop.
he's just like, you know, we go back to the room. It's like, okay, let's eat a brownie, start chilling a little bit.
Sure.
And we're just sitting there talking. We each had a little thing of brownies, and I'm like laying in my bed with my Kindle up, and we're talking back and forth as we're doing things. And he just like in mid sentence just drops. Like he's laying aside chatting with me, and then it was just like, and he was out. Like there
I
is,
get it.
you okay? You awake? And so I'm taking another because I mean, like I apparently have a higher tolerance than Drew does.
You
So
do.
Apparently.
or
All
maybe
right.
eating it differently or something. But yeah, so I just and then I got my sleep in. But yeah, Drew
That's
is
beautiful.
just like one and done.
And then
Out.
I wake up like nothing's happened. I'm like, wow, what a fun story that was, wasn't it? Like, what a great adventure, kids.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I was time traveling. I
I,
was.
I I was stuck in the hospital for 5 weeks, and thank God everything worked out. But while I
Oh,
was
God.
there, I had a biker roommate, and he's like, "John, you get high?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And this is before it was legal. And he's like, "My brother's coming in with stuff." He goes, "We got gummies." He goes, "Normally I'd say take half, but given that we're not going anywhere, what the hell, man? Take the whole thing."
Oh
So I
my
did,
God.
and I said I was astral projecting like Doctor Strange out of my body
Yeah,
and hovering over my body and stuff. And I'm like,
I,
okay,
and Carrie can test to this. I always feel like I have three modes. Either I am just out, or I'm just really happy, or I feel like I become like McConaughey from Days of Confused. Everything, it's
all
good,
right.
man. Cool, man. It's all right. We're good. Cool. All right. It's good, man.
It
And
just
I
it's
This is
so
good. I
weird.
like the pod portion of the conversation. This is good. This is good.
I just have to share when I licked a spoon. Speaking of time travel, it was the most bizarre thing. I'd like live, 10 seconds and then go back in time that 10 seconds and then watch myself like living that 10 seconds. And it was just
Oh,
like,
Mr. Dr. Manhattan.
oh yeah, it was insane. It was, and when I was trying to tell Brandon that we were canceling for the evening, like I couldn't realize whether I told him or I was thinking about telling him. It was like I couldn't function at all. It was
I get it. Been there. Been a long
knowing
time. Been
Brandon,
there.
knowing that angry Bostonian to be like, what the fuck is going on?
It happened.
Oh my
Occupational
God.
hazard. That's all right.
So,
That's all right.
uh,
Dad owned a bar, so booze was never a big deal for me and my sister. My sister's totally teetotaler. Never really got into anything. I mean, she'll have the
Bruce,
occasional wine, but it's
Bruce
so
Wayne in
rare.
it. Mm.
But yeah, I just booze was for my thing, man. You know?
No, listen, do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But so John, we are coming on time. So
Yeah.
so one, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. I mean, it's
Always a
always
pleasure,
great
boys
having
and
you.
girls.
And Carrie and Liam, speak for you. We're really excited to see not just seeing you at Terrificon, but what panels you have coming up, whatever you're doing. I mean, and then again, congratulations on upcoming 20 years of Word Balloon, man.
Guys, truly, thank you for being so kind at the show at Terrificon, having me on. And also another thing that you guys have always been kind about too, you video the panels and I don't. And a lot of times you've given me access to your video of the panels that I've done. And that means a lot because I do claim a bit of, even though I'm not videotaping it, and I don't want to screw up anybody's business plan. And you guys have been really kind about it. But it's like, I did like come up with this panel and conceive it. I'm like, I do feel like I have part ownership. And again, you guys get it. Other people don't. And that's okay. That's all right.
Sure.
Lesson learned. But yeah, it's that's good. And that's another reason why I love Terrificon, because C2E2 can get kind of hinky about videoing panels because they want to obviously promote the content because they put on the show. I got Mitch isn't like that with Terrificon. He's not like that. But again, others are that do video, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But no, thank you. So thank you. You guys have only made it helpful. And even with what we're using right now, StreamYard, Leo was like, "Hey man, if you want, you can jump on our channel and everything." And I'm like, "No, it's okay. I'll do it. I'll do it on my own." And it's been fine. So
cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're all in this together, John. So it's totally glad to help where we can. And we thank you for being so friendly to us as well. You get some people that can be, a bit stuffy, but
100%.
You
Leo literally since year 2006, we had guys that I do this, and it's like, and most of us were like, "Hey, this is great. We're all doing the same thing." There were a couple of people like, "Well, we do," and it's like, if you want to put up the barrier, that's your problem.
Right.
Good luck to you. And some of them still exist, some of them don't anymore. And it's like, that's all right. There's no editorial board keeping us from doing the podcast. That's why I'm glad, both from 2013 and your current iteration as Splash Pages and stuff, that you're doing it. We're doing this as long as we want to do it. I have no intention after 20 years. I'm not slowing down. I'm not stopping anytime soon. Again, I like this. It's fun. And I really believe in the niche. And I think we need more good coverage and smart people talking to these creators and giving them that same forum that movies and television and books have and have had for, nearly a century now, as long as the broadcast medium has been alive. And that's what's great about the digital platform and stuff, that we can do these kinds of things. So.
Oh, totally. And more positivity too, because there's too many people out there that, they hop on the hate train,
Did you see with Thunderbolts? I mean, there are people like, Thunderbolt, and I'm like, bullshit. That was I don't know if you guys have seen it yet.
Oh, yeah, I saw it this weekend. Oh, so good.
So did I.
On my list.
Best Marvel movie since Endgame. And even, God bless them, even some guys that occasionally do get angry about stuff. It's like, I've seen some other YouTubers like knocking Thunderbolts. I'm not going to do that. It's a damn good movie. And it is a damn good movie. But there are hate channels that just want to hate. And that's fine. Whatever. And they get a lot of traction. Not my kind of show, not your guys' kind of show.
Yeah, man. You just got to do it from the Big Lebowski. It's like, well, that's your opinion, man. So,
and for those who try to gatekeep people on podcast things, it's like, okay, you guard your gate. There's no wall that it's attached to. I'm just going to walk right around it, because
damn right,
we're all here to make sure that everybody's welcome.
Well, Mark thinks Thunderbolts is the best movie ever. I wouldn't go. I personally, I think there have been better ones, but I really, really loved the movie. And and you're gonna have. Oh, that's right. I do. Stanley's right. Not all modern Star Trek, but certainly a lot of it. Yeah. Again, it always comes down to the writing. Same thing with my problems with Doctor Who right now. It's the writing. The writing has to be good, guys. Doesn't have to. You can have a person of different orientation. You can have a person of color. You can have a woman as your leads. That's all great. But again, it still has to be written well. And if you just think, well, we got our first trans character, mission accomplished. No, that's just square one on the board game of life, and you got to get to the finish line. And what else is this character? What makes that character interesting beyond their orientation? And if you don't have an answer, then you did a disservice to. And again, this is my opinion, but you did a disservice to the character and the viewers, both trans viewer, again, the people that character represents, and the general audience. Because if that's all you got, it's not 1965 anymore. We're not impressed.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have to watch the new Star Trek stuff because I can go over and watch your show. It's kind of like on the Lost Boys where it's like you watch the TV guide, you don't have to watch any TV, or you read the
Yes,
TV guide.
Barnard Hughes, the
You, you,
grandfather,
you,
exactly.
yeah,
Gotta
you watch
TV.
John's show with all of them going over it. You don't got to watch the shows because they tell you exactly what you're feeling. And with the group that you have, it's like I have the exact same opinion as most of you. So,
I
yep.
hear you, man. Speedy, good to see you, Speedy.
There you go.
Good day.
But John, are there any conventions that you're going to be at besides Terrific Con?
No.
You know, or
No,
oh,
that was C2E2 last month, and now nothing until well, again the Kingdom Come screening at the Music Box on Saturday, and there's going to be a lot of comic creators there,
Cool.
so that'll be nice, but not a proper convention per se, and
Okay.
that's okay. I'm not going to San Diego this year. I can't reverse mortgage my house to just afford it,
Fair.
so but it's cool. It's all right. Again, having done it 20 years, I don't need to go to conventions and build the relationships because thankfully I've been around long enough that that I got my group, my Rolodex is full. That's an older reference. That's something we used to have before having all our phone numbers in our phone. But yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
Justin asks if I'm doing Fan Expo Chicago. I probably am. I haven't made that official commitment. I got to look and see if they were even listing guests, but I really should get my press credential in order and stuff. Fan Expo has always been hot and cold. I mean, there are years that it's amazing, and then there are years that it's very ordinary from a comic book creator standpoint. So hopefully it's a good year this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again, John, for joining us. We really do appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you
guys
at Terrific Con. And one more thing, congratulations on your second or most latest portrayal in Quebec Canary Best of the Best.
Yes, Tom King and Company put me in there with our buddy Mike Cronenberg as the MMA. Although I am now a person of color in that Best of the Best Black Canary mini, I got no problem with that. That was fantastic. Yeah, I've been. It's been very, as you guys showed. Do you mind showing it again, Leo? The image that
the sentence.
There we go. Yeah, that's Stuart Immerman.
First
everybody.
appearance.
Yeah, and that was me as Principal Suntress in Ultimate Spider-Man, and I was in there for a good handful of issues. And Sarah Pichelli and Immerman and Chris Somney among the people that drew me.
Yeah,
which was an incredible honor. Jeremy Hahn drew me in The Beauty, a great comic book that he wrote that is now in production as an FX series. And Gavin Guidry drew me in one of his comics, and Mike Norton drew me in a JSA comic. Yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. I've been very fortunate that way.
Yeah, well, hopefully more
full collection.
No kidding, for real, Kari. I got Norton gifted me a page of the JSA comic that I was in that he drew, and that was cool and everything. And it was, it was like mid-aughts, like about 15 years ago that he did that, which was really sweet. Yeah, I'll put you in the JSA. That's my Mike Norton hillbilly voice. I don't talk like that. Sure you don't. Sure you don't.
I'm gonna get the full list from you, and then I'm gonna start searching. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Leo, should we just sign off because I feel like we're just gonna.
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. Before we do, Drew, who's next week?
Oh, hey everybody! Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you joining us and staying as long as you did. If you didn't, that's your loss.
It's my fault.
No, John, it's not your fault. I'm in my zone, man. Just give me a minute. Next week we have on. We were able to reschedule them. We have the great Jim Zub is going to be back. We're going to be talking about Samurai Jack, the work he did with IDW, and of course we're going to be talking about Conan the Barbarian, among other things. Super pumped to have him second chance to give him that interview that we wanted to do earlier this year, but weren't able to do because of circumstances outside of our control. But the Zub is back, so let's make it count.
Awesome. And I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. For me, you know how to find me. Just Google me, but head on over to thedorkening.com. You can find all our shows there, and check out our YouTube stuff. We got a bunch of extra videos going up there as well. Information's all in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. And John, where can people find you?
Well, certainly Word Balloon's YouTube channel. Just one word, Word Balloon. Also, I'm still on X, although, X. But that's at John Word Balloon, and under my name on Facebook, John Suttress, and Instagram, one word, Word Balloon. So all of those places. And if you ever want to email me, john@wordballoon.com.
And Blue Sky as well.
Yes, thank you, man. I'm so sorry. You're absolutely right about that. I am on Blue Sky. I believe Word Balloon at Blue Sky. However long that URL is for the Blue Sky stuff. But no, I'm very happy to be at Blue Sky.
Awesome. Carrie.
Hey, if you want to find me, look that up on Facebook, and all of my links are there. If you're wondering which one is me, if you see a judgmental crow looking at you, that is the one that is me. You can go read my books. You can watch me here with these guys. You can see when I'm not with these gents, I'm over on the Owlite Network doing some storytelling podcasts and such over there, and movie reviews. And I sleep a lot, a ridiculous amount of time. So that's what I'm doing when I'm not podcasting, reading, or watching other people's podcasts. And Ratatosker just drinks. So, yeah, that's my life.
Okay. Mr. Drew.
Hey, everybody. Oh, damn it. I thought it was going to be a full tweet. Sorry. So me, Drew Malo. I'm on Facebook, same name. Ghostbuster Man 1984 on Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky, just under the same name. I don't sleep as much as Carrie does, but I'm extremely busy and most likely exhausted. So if you should message me, I swear to God, I'll get back to you probably before the end of the year. Probably.
Awesome. And with that, we'll catch you later. And John, hang tight until the stream ends.